Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 12 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. I hope all of you are having as tremendously horrible start to the day as I am. Yeah, I have a story to launch this show with? Karak, how are you doing, my friend?
It's good. We can barely clap in sync, so I have a feeling the show's gonna be high octane. We're gonna do well.
Yeah,
we're gonna do well.
I think this can only go well. I mean,
it can only go better than it just did.
I was going to say, I have had I wanted to tell you about it, but I was like, I'll save it for the show.
I think I know what you're going to say because I was in your Discord, but I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Actually, no, I don't think I said this yet.
Okay.
So this is a whole new story to everyone. So electric bills, I run this place here. We keep the heat on at times. Sometimes we don't. Try to make sure we don't overdo it. So I get my bill. It's $400. And I'm like, man, okay, a winter bill. This is a little bit high. So I'm communicating back and forth. I'm trying to figure out, hey, can you give me a meter read? We got to find out if this is the right number. This is like 4 times higher than what I normally pay, even if it is a winter month. I'm thinking like, all right, this simply must be a mistake. So I'm waiting them out. We're emailing back and forth. Today was the due date for the bill. And they were like, hey, we checked the meter. It's good. This is the accurate number. I was like, all right, fine, I'll pay it. So I go to pay them, and it has been bumped up to $620 now. And I'm like, motherfucker, are you kidding me? Because there was a late fee applied to the bill because I paid after its date. But I was waiting for a response, so I'm like, I'm getting my money back.
Yeah.
But anyway, my day has started off on a horrendous note. I've created a vacuum in my pocket. So I want to drag the audience down with me. You're all coming down with me. I'm letting you all know today is going to be the worst yet. It's going to be the worst yet. So we appreciate you joining us as brothers in suffering.
Yeah,
and
sit through it with us.
Suffering.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, so for those of you who are along for the ride, this is Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast where we like to cover all PC, Xbox-related news, discuss them, do Game Pass picks of the week, backwards compat picks of the week, and we're happy to have you here. Our show has been growing thanks to all the recent Xbox news, from Game Pass additions to the guests we've rolled in, Bethesda joining. So once again, if you're new here, thank you. For those who want to support a little bit more, head over to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Early access for this show goes live on Thursdays, where you're on audio platforms, you're on video, and then if you want to wait for free on all of those same platforms, you can go ahead and wait till Sunday. One note I want to make, and I don't want to over promote early in the video, but we did get some comments. I've seen them on my videos. I've seen them on some of the Last Stand content. Some people say, do I support Matty's Patreon to get early access? Do I support Karak's to get early access? Do I support Colin's? Like, who do I support? Of course, our answer is going to be support who you want to. But if you are looking to directly support us, Colin does pay us. But if you are looking to directly support us, go to our Patreons where we offer our own separate rewards and tiers there. That's if you want to. That's no pressure. It's just because some people have asked in a desire to support us directly in what we do. You can go to our Patreons. Mine's Mr. Matty Plays. Karak's is ACG. Head over there, and if you want to support us, you can.
It is confusing even to you and I. Well, behind the scenes, I've asked you that. We've talked about the Twitter, the patron thing a couple times, because I've been like, how do you, is it okay for us to say that what we do because we don't get a part of the patron? Like, yes, we get money for being here, but you don't get any of the extended benefits, blah, 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 which is totally fine. I have no issues with people. For the most part, I think people go to support Colin, what's it called now? Last Stand Media as a whole, because it's everybody. And so in a way, it is still making sure we're here and everything. But then I get somebody who's like, how do I get a shirt or whatever? And I'm like, all right, that's a completely different. It is, I've just never done this before. So it's like, I didn't even know. Yeah. You and I have always done stuff where it's like, it's always separate. We never put our stuff, it was ham, but you weren't like ham only stuff. You didn't have a ham only Patreon. And I think that's why it's confusing for people. It makes sense to talk about it.
Yeah. So we just wanted to clear that up for those of you who did want to go to the length of directly supporting us, which a lot of you have on at least my end. I've seen a pretty big increase, so I appreciate those of you who have shifted over. And welcome to the dark side of the web. With that, when you join up on Last Stand Media, you can get Defining Duke Ultimate. We just aired episode 8, which is about what Xbox's next move should be. That's kind of been a topic of conversation now that the dust has settled on Bethesda. How should they approach their roadmap? E3? How should they approach any acquisitions or lack thereof? Japan. It was a nice conversation. A lot of great submissions on things I did not previously think of. Our mobile ratings continue to soar. We're at 360. I would love to see, I'm going to continue to ask favors from the audience. I would love to see 400. That would be awesome. So we get about 20,000 listeners a week. If 40 of you took some time out of your day, I mean, come on. Yeah, it's
all
right.
Helpful.
So with that, enough of our promotion. Karak, what have you been up to, man?
Just getting screwed over left and right. It's been a this entire year
getting fucked over.
Yeah, especially January. I was like, I took some money that I had made and set aside specifically for changing a bunch of stuff, including hiring a researcher for some stuff, not video editors or anything like that. I couldn't hack it, man. I talked to people were telling me how much they charge. You were helping me out, and I was like, you know what? I'm such a weird freak about what I put in and how I want to do everything that right now I can save some time with like some researchers, and my wife works from home as well as away, which you and I have had to deal with at times with scheduling. And
yeah,
dude, people just don't realize, like the embargoes, whenever I bitch about embargoes, I'm like, it has nothing to do with the views, because the video now and the video views is far less important than the amount of money I spend up front thinking a schedule will be the schedule I am told and sign on a piece of paper about. And I didn't really realize that when you sign an NDA, that actually just means you uphold every single part of what you have. They uphold nothing of what they have. Nothing.
Oh no.
And they can just be like, no, we've yeah, it's for sure on Monday. And you'll be like, okay, Monday. So I schedule everything out, and they're like, oh no, actually we were wrong, it's Saturday. And you're like, well, and what sucks is people don't realize that. I've had people be like, well, just insert something. It's like most of the time nothing is insertable because you have scheduled people, real life people around things, and you can't like reach out and say, oh, by the way, your NFL game is now magically Monday instead of Wednesday, and today is Sunday night. Everybody should just be there. That's not going to work. There's too many moving parts. And this year, 35 massive errors in embargoes. 35, because I count them and I track them on spreadsheets. 35, whether it be times, whether it be coverage you can show. It's COVID brain. That's what I was telling people. I was like, I don't feel like I have it because I track everything. Like I can look at a piece of paper and you know, I've had that issue with you where I'm like, what time? You know, because I have so many podcasts. But overall, it hasn't been so bad. But dude, it's been straight up like the Rise. What are we talking? Monster Hunter Rise. The shit going on with Monster Hunter Rise embargoes right now is
weird.
I've never seen such a clusterfuck from a company in my life. Where like people are saying there's no video or there's no code out there and there's reviews posted. You're just like, what are you talking about? What world are you in right now? Like, go to YouTube and look it up. So that's what I've been dealing with for the last 3 weeks, just consistently fighting. I had one embargo, and of all things I hit it was Magic Legends. A game that, by the way, I got some good views. People enjoyed it, but not a game like that I was fighting for, I guess you'd say. So it's been a
game that admittedly
month.
is, you know, to be real, even if it's good or bad, like low on the priority list compared to something like a Monster Hunter, you know, something that's a bigger bang.
Yeah.
You know, so I get that. Yeah. Because the thing is we've talked about on ham radio for multiple years, like the failure of communication that happens between company and creator way too often. And it's just kind of gotten worse where, you know, I don't want to specify what. I've had deals in place that have been like last minute, they just yank the rug out from under you and they're like, nope, not anymore.
Yeah.
Why? Can't say. It's like, well, okay, I guess I'm not entitled to that information, but at the end of the day, you will plan accordingly to something. You will reschedule even content existing, and then they'll just be like, yep, that's not happening. Why? We're not doing it.
What's weird too is they're the ones who, like, you'll see on Twitter talking about it being a business, and like there needs to be good business on the creator side as well as them, but that really does not jive from what I've seen. Now there are some really cool companies that does jive with. I don't want to make it sound like everybody. In fact, I got a DM from a PR company that stated basically this. I posted on Twitter. They stated, if this ever happens to you from any company ever, contact me day or night. I will find something for you to review or cover first. Access is not the same as being an asshole. And it was a pretty big PR company. And they were like, from now on, I'll never let this happen to you again. If somebody has like burnt your time and it's not like some major disaster, we'll take care of you and we'll make sure, because it is a business. And access is one thing. Saying you can have it. If somebody says I can't have it, that's fine. But then saying you have it, and then then you start getting the shadow. And we've talked about this for years. All of a sudden you get this feeling, man, or you see somebody on a forum post something and you're like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, that doesn't jive with what? And then all of a sudden it just falls apart and you get that bile in your mouth. Especially for us, you're buying studio time, which is different than even me. Like, if I were you and I paid $600 for electricity and some company just randomly stated that the NDA you signed is just, you still have to uphold all your stuff, but there's completely changing stuff, I'd be like, dude, I'm going to send you an NDA from now on, you know? Like, I mean, because they can sue you. You know, they state right there, we can sue you for all this stuff. And it's like, you have no real ability to get any of that stuff back. Yeah. Weird time.
No, you put it perfectly. I don't know if I can add any more to that. It's just kind of, it's a side of the industry that people don't talk about much because there are so many contracts involved that it's just like, I'll just leave it, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. And I'm sure with Xbox doing their stuff and Sony doing their stuff, it'll only get worse for a while, where there's a lot of jostling behind the scenes.
Yeah. Because like last year made more sense. It's like, oh, we're all adjusting. But this year, I feel like we're in a more of a routine and it's actually been worse, which is strange for sure. All right, some opening comments, and then we'll get into, a opening comment. We just have one, and then we will get into warm-up questions. Kate O'Brien asks, hello, can someone please remind me of the name of the original Xbox game Matty has recommended in the past? It was a metal dodgeball-esque type competitive game. No, it was actually Death Row.
Death Row. Yeah, Death Row.
That's in the right ballpark, though, of fun party Xbox games,
And I believe you're in a metal hamster cage in one of the mini games in Fusion Frenzy. Are you not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
You like to roll around and bump each other out of the ring. It controls horribly.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
But yeah, Death Row is the game you're thinking of, Cade. Check it out. Let me know what you think. I love me some Death Row. Would really like for Xbox to add that to back compat, but that's a whole conversation to its own. Let's do some warm-up questions. This kind of ties into some news. Zach Bryce is our first write-in. Hey, guys, what do you think of the deal with Warner Brothers Montreal? I wasn't completely shocked that they pushed Gotham Knights to 2022, but their last game was Arkham Origins in 2013. Almost 10 years in between games. How is this acceptable, really? Not trying to sound harsh. I'm just trying to understand. Love the show, guys. Keep it up. So, for those who don't know, Gotham Knights was supposed to come out this summer. It was revealed last August at the DC Fandom, and then just recently, this past week, they said, hey, we're delaying this game into 2022. They didn't give a rough date or anything like that. They just gave it a big delay. Warner Brothers Montreal was in the news for years because they were doing weird cryptic teases on their Twitter account with the Court of Owls and stuff, and they started teasing, like, something's coming soon, and then nothing came for months and months. Like, I'm going to be honest, they did a really bad job. And I wonder if it's something with why Warner Bros. Games was looking to sell off their gaming division, because we haven't seen a release from Rocksteady since 2015 with Arkham Knight. Granted, they did DLC, but we haven't seen a release from them in a while. We haven't seen a release from Warner Brothers Montreal. It seems to keep stagnating in their pipeline more and more. And of course, COVID would play a factor, but in the case of, we'll say, Rocksteady, they had 5 years pretty much before we got to that point. So what do you think of their release schedule? Because I know Warner Bros. Montreal would assist on things, but at the end of the day, they have failed to get something out since Arkham Origins. And that is a long leash, but I think because they're not such a prominent company yet, maybe people haven't talked about it. That's just some of my stance. I want to hear yours.
Well, so there were the three big delays. This was the last one I knew about a couple months ago that, you know, people working on the team were like, this is for sure getting delayed. Because I don't like anybody I know isn't super high somewhere. But so this one didn't surprise me. It's been known for a while, sort of like that where its level was and people internally will know that. They'll look and be like, man, I don't know. And then I think when you add the illness on top of everything, I don't know about the big delay. I do know that they absolutely tanked the Batman Court of Owls stuff. I don't understand if they thought that had to do with this or what. I don't think it did, because I don't even think the art style for Court of Owls and the stuff that they blinked out and showed and put on a building one time, that art assets, the font even, isn't even the Gotham Knights font. So my assumption is maybe there was some preliminary work that then, failed, and then Warner Brothers was maybe thinking of selling it, and then Gotham came up. But I mean, I don't have much to add. This was the last one of the big ones that I knew was getting delayed for sure, and it's like, it makes sense that it makes sense, but I got to admit, it's actually one I'm looking forward to. I don't know why.
Dude, absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to this game. So I was sad to have heard it was delayed, and then even sadder to see that confirmed, because I was saying a couple weeks ago, I'm like, dude, this thing's been delayed forever. No one's talking about it. Like, what is happening? And then finally they announced it. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe that has to do with the Warner Brothers thing too. Maybe they were shopping it or something. I don't know.
That's why I think they were shopping it, because Zach, when he asked this question, I never thought about it, but I just feel like their pipeline's been stuck for a while where they were generating nothing, right? They didn't have, and that's probably why you're going to see Rocksteady shift to that games as a service kind of model, and they're going to see what they can generate with that. I think you and I probably share the excitement of Gotham Knights, because Avengers really left us with a bad taste in our mouth, right? You had this game that clearly felt like it was going to be one thing, it ends up being another, and Gotham Knight really got dragged at first. I had to make a video kind of defending it, and a lot of people had to clear up the misinformation about it, because people were saying it's Avengers, it's games as a service. It's like, no, it's not. It's a co-op game. It's a 2-player co-op game. They're like, oh, they're ruining it as they're doing like loot, and I think it's just an action RPG kind of progression system, which we can leave that up to like when we play the game.
Yeah.
But there was so much wrong stuff going around about this game.
Yeah, for sure.
That it really pissed me off, because it really did just look like co-op Arkham. And that's cool to me. I never thought of that. I feel like it was a really kind of bold concept. We're starting to see co-op make a return, right? We're seeing It Takes Two come out. We're starting to see something like Gotham Knights, like, actual traditional co-op things. Outriders is another co-op game. And I'm hyped about that. There was an era, funny enough, around when Arkham Origins released, there was a time period where not everything was this persistent world, where it was, hey, you and a couple of buddies are going to go on an adventure. And I love that shit. That's still some of my favorite ways to game. My friends and I still go back to Resident Evil 5. We go back to Dead Space 3. Like, those are some of our favorite co-op games, and they just don't make them like that anymore. So I think that's why, at least for me, Arkham Knights, sorry, there we go. There it is. Gotham Knights sits with me a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm excited for it regardless.
Yeah. Jason's next. Hello, gentlemen. This is my first time writing in, and I love the show you guys have started. Thank you, Jason, and thank you for writing in as well. I was wondering if you think Rare will be sharing any of its many IPs with other studios at any point after the Perfect Dark announcement with the initiative. I think they have too many good IPs sitting around to only have Sea of Thieves and Everwild be their current project. Let's be real, how awesome would it be to have a new Viva Pinata game, which I believe is long overdue and an underrated series on Series X. Anyway, keep up the amazing work, guys, and have a very medium day. I like that. It's a little pun there. Thank you, Jason. All right, so Rare is a really popular studio amongst our audience. A lot of people have a lot of love for their IP. I don't have that same attachment to them. A lot of my experience with Rare games really came with Rare Replay. One of my favorites from Rare is actually Jet Force Gemini. I think it's one of the best aging titles from that collection. And there's other cool ones like Battletoads, where they had the snow level that was set during Christmas time. I always dug that one a lot. I thought that was a ton of fun. Very, very tough game, though. But overall, you have a lot of series that are lying dormant. We saw Battletoads had a release last year. And And I think Rare is already in the process of really handing out a lot of the IPs. When you think you have Perfect Dark with the Initiative, I have to double check who developed the new Battletoads game, but what do you make of them continuing to hand out their IP to other developers? Would you want to see that?
I mean, I'm always open for something getting made versus something not getting made. So, I mean,
by Dlala Studios, not to interrupt you, but
oh no, what were you going to say?
Battletoads from 2020 was by both Rare and Dlala Studios.
Yeah, and isn't it weird? I swear to God, dude, I don't know if Mike was just seeing the future. I think we've already talked about this on the ham, but when Mike Williams came on the last Defining Duke, dude, he stated very clearly he thought Microsoft should buy a port studio, and Microsoft has bought a port studio. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but pretty interesting.
When?
Yeah. They actually announced it. There was a Twitter that stated, we want to announce that we've been employed by Microsoft to work on this, this, and this. It's a company I haven't heard of before, but they posted on Twitter.
Oh, really? You mind linking me so I can check it out? Might toss that into the news as we record this, but yeah, I mean, that seems necessary. They have all these IP kind of lying around. You see them prioritizing, like, we're going to reboot Fable, like we're going to give that the priority treatment, so to speak, where something like Battletoads was a little more simplistic, and so on and so forth. Where Viva Pinata, where would you play something like that? Is that I have not played that, but do you think that would be a high priority thing for them?
I don't care if it's for them, it is for me. But yeah, so just so you know, I believe, okay, so this says Panic Button is one of the companies, and they helped with Forza Horizon, handled port. So and they handled Torchlight 2, and they handled Doom BFG. They handled Wolfenstein Youngblood, Hob. These are for Nintendo. These last two were for Nintendo. They handled Subnautica for all of the consoles. And they aren't the one, though, that announced. What's a game that's come out for Microsoft recently?
Like in the last couple months, the Medium?
It wasn't the Medium. Oh, this is bothering me because I thought I talked about this on I might have talked about it on my podcast last Friday, but basically Mike came in to the Defining Duke on Wednesday, I believe, right? Yeah, that's when we recorded with Mike Williams. He comes in and he stated, he's like, one of the things he would want to see is for them to like get a port company of some kind. And dude, I'm not lying. Yeah. It was Thursday or Friday. And I might have posted this online too, but I was like, okay, was he lying? Was he like pretending he didn't know? Because, dude, the timing.
I felt like there were a couple of things Mike said.
There's
where he dropped some breadcrumbs, and I was like,
And sometimes he won't. And that time he was like, well, I think they need to get a port company to help them with stuff. And it was like, boom, the next day or the day after. And I was looking at it going, Mike. But
what was the studio name again? Did you say that, or did I just...
no, the one that came up, which is not the same one that I saw in the tweet, but the one that came up that's helped Microsoft a ton is called Panic Button. And they are specifically a port company. Yeah, but there is one that stated, we're happy to announce that we're working with Microsoft on, and I can't remember what it is for the life of me. And I looked it up and I can't find it exactly. I will find it because I talked about it, or somebody watching this, by the way, will just respond to this because I have mentioned Mike a couple times about this particular thing, and I mentioned it in my Discord, so I'll go look and see if I can find it. But that would be one of their big things, was to hire a port company, to handle some of the stuff and move it around on the different systems. I think we were also talking about, Microsoft on Nintendo, Sony, because no one knew. I mean, we still don't know where Microsoft's going to put Xbox and online or Xbox Live, like, or what is it called? Xbox Network now, whatever. We just don't know where that's going to end up. I would love to see some of these companies come in and port, because that's where he was talking about was mobile. He was also talking about mobile. There's a lot of games coming up from Microsoft in particular that I was like looking at, like if they did a Halo Wars 3, like I would have no issue with an iPhone/Android, streaming version of that, and it would have to be handled by a port company to make sure that to make sure the controls and stuff worked. It would be fun.
Well, it looks like that's in the cards if they continue to push this xCloud thing. So We will see. Number 3 comes from Jody Pack. Hey, boys, recently Karak has made his hatred of the medium well known and has expressed confusion as to how some reviewers gave it a glowing review. I want to return to that sentence at the beginning of this, but I'm sorry, at the end of this, but hold on. My question is this. Have either of you ever been on the opposite side where you loved a game that many people hated? For me, that game is Anthem. I didn't follow the game much prior to release and hadn't played many BioWare games. I'm looking at my Google Doc and I just saw your head kick up.
Yeah.
Before. So I didn't have extremely high expectations. I played the game for several hours straight on release and absolutely loved it, only to go online to see it was getting absolutely blasted by nearly everyone. Sure, the game isn't perfect, but I love the time I spent playing it. Years later, people still point it to one of gaming's biggest flops. Have either of you ever experienced this disconnect with a game you enjoyed? Thanks for your great content. I want to point out one thing, and you can vouch for this, is that he's saying
I wasn't the only one.
I was gonna say, bro. I was like right there being like, yo, this shit sucks. He's like, Karak did it. I'm like, don't put it all on him. Not only that, but it's like, I'm right here. I said it. But anyway, point being, it sounds annoying for me to say that. Have we been on the side, though, where we like something that people fucking hate?
I mean, no. I can honestly say I don't think the answer to that would be yes. And the reason why is this. If I like something, I can almost always tell, and because I report on tech stuff, I can almost always point out that there's a tech thing that I can see people hating or loving, you know, depending, and I may not like it. I usually cover more sound, music, and voice. There's a couple more things I can cover to where I can explain why I liked it more than somebody else. But I will never say it's good. I will say I liked it, or fun factor. So the idea that fun factor is not in most reviews is still mind-boggling to me. Because fun factor is the juice for a game that isn't perfect. It is quite literally the juice. For example, Magic. Magic Legends is fun. Like, dude, I came out of that game going, man, that game's got some serious issues. But when it's clicking, I was just like, damn, this is new. This is like no other game that's currently doing this kind of thing. This is awesome.
That's awesome.
It's got all these other issues. But it takes a lot for me to say fun factor would beat out like tech stuff and all that. The only thing I've noticed is that people, I would say, not to get it a long drawn out for me so that you can answer no. I don't think I've ever loved a game that other people have hated, but I have certainly found them more enjoyable for various reasons. And I'll state that, but I don't think I'll ever say it's an amazing game. I'll just be like, it's got its issues, but its fun factor was more than enough to make it worth the money. For me.
Yeah, I fall in that camp a lot. I don't know if there's been a game that has been really maligned that I sat there and was like, yeah, this is my jam.
Yeah, like this is the best game ever.
Yeah.
I mean, even Cyberpunk, you were like, hey, there's these issues, but I still liked it. Like, there's a difference there. There's a difference.
I was going to say, yeah, the Cyberpunk sticks out as an example for me. Wolfenstein 2 was another example.
Youngblood for me.
Kind of. Oh, there you go. Yeah, like I remember being in a bubble, really liking Wolfenstein 2. Didn't pay attention to it before launch. It really wasn't relevant to my coverage. I was just like, all right, let's review this thing. Played it. Was like, that was phenomenal. Immediately made my review. I don't read or watch anyone's because I want to keep my opinion my own and not have anything like impact my thoughts as I develop them. And I remember posting it and people just going like, what?
Yeah.
And not everyone. A lot of people agreed it was good, but a lot of folks were pretty caught off guard that I thought it was a good game, and I was sitting there going, well, what isn't there to like? It's definitely shorter. That's for damn sure, and there's a lot more cutscenes. That's also for damn sure, but I felt like it was still worthwhile. So there are games also I like more than others because of my own taste. I think of Greedfall. I think the average person might think Greedfall is a little underwhelming. It's got some jank, some wonkiness here and there. But I think Greedfall is awesome, and Tracking Spiders, a studio that I typically don't like their games, even as an RPG fan. I think their concepts have always been phenomenal, but they've never executed them, and I thought Greedfall was amazing because they finally got it to some extent, and maybe people don't share that because they don't have that history with them, and so there's so many angles there, but I don't think there's been a time... I'm sorry to put you on the spot here, Joe DePack, but I don't think there's been a time I've been like, Anthem, baby! Let's go. That's my stuff right there. It's like,
no,
nope.
Even when I liked State of Decay 2, which had technical issues, I had heard about the technical issues. So I was like, okay, listen, my review is based on my experience, because I can't say Matt. If you and I play together, I can say Matty has reported it. Like, I would be comfortable doing that. But a lot of times, if I hear there's technical issues, but I don't experience them, I can only say, listen, if I don't tell you what I experienced, at some point we're going to get in a weird world where I'm not reviewing, I'm cloud reviewing, which is just, that's Metacritic. Go fuck off. Go be Metacritic. Like, that's not me. That would be idiotic. And so State of Decay 2, dude, it was janky, it was crunchy, it had issues for a lot of people, but when it was working, I was like, for the cost, yeah, this is worth it. And I got some feedback on that for sure. What I love is, you always, like, other than Cyberpunk and a couple others, most of the time I've never felt that there is any real way for you to say another person is wrong as long as they explain it well. I think for the most part, it's almost impossible unless, like, it's just, trash and you almost feel like it was paid for, right? But removing that hyperbole, I will say I am always stunned when somebody tries to use it against me. You'll get reviewers doing it. You'll get podcasts will do it. Somebody be like, Karak's paid off. He likes State of Decay. And somebody be like, actually, no, he didn't. He had a blast with State of Decay, but he knew there was a ton of issues. He just thought it was worth the money. And people be like, no, for sure paid off. Or I'll have people say, I'm paid off for Ubisoft coverage. And I'm like, do you realize that if you take every Ubisoft game currently, I'm actually at 30% for reviewing those and stating they're worth buying day one? 30%. Probably the lowest of any reviewer who gets a good number of views. And I have seen Reddit threads where people are like, Karak's paid off by Ubisoft. And it's like, dude, no, I just get their games. Somehow they keep giving them to me despite me saying, man,
hey, that's why we give Ubisoft their props on this show at times.
They're just like, okay, you're truthful, we'll give you a code, right?
I'll tear them apart, man. Yeah, that's what makes their games sometimes not enjoyable, where it's like I look forward to theirs more than others, but the review experience for theirs is like, you don't think to yourself, like, you don't hit submit going, that's probably the last I'm going to hear from them. I've had that with companies where I've like hit the enter key. It happened with EA. I hit the enter key on my Battlefront 1 review, and I was like, this is probably it with them, and I was right. I never heard from them since. Since then, their BioWare reps have reached out and stuff, but not EA. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, it's. I would say I've never been on the Anthem moment. I can't say that's happened to me.
Yeah,
not saying you're a bad person, whoever you are. Just saying that's.
I am.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty hefty.
I'm going to judge your character.
Right.
I mean, what's your quality control like? What's his bedroom look like? Let's ask the real questions here. Zachary Doring is our fourth write-in. Hey guys, I have recently started exercising more and am hoping to be more consistent so I can lose weight, get healthier, and all that jazz. Any suggestions as to which exercises are fun, and what do you do to keep consistent? Thanks and cheers on the great show. I truly love it. Thank you, Zachary. I thought, let's help the audience. They've been scratching our back. Scratch theirs a little bit. Give them some workout tips. Karak, you love to lift. I like to run. Let's cut a little bit deeper, though. What's like your go-to? Let's say you don't own weights, maybe even. Like, what would you recommend for some training? Do you have any type of methods for that? Because for me, I'm big on cardio because I sit a lot. So I'm big on that. But I'm curious what your approach is because I know you've talked about martial arts and stuff. So
yeah, I would say heavy bags because I do have the boxing heavy bags, and those are my go-to. I really like, and you can put them on your floor. They don't have to hang from something, which is always nice. And a true person doesn't hang by their neck when you're punching them. Like it's not realistic to me. That might sound weird, but what I'm saying is when you punch a punching bag, if it's swinging like this, that's not realistic to me. That's not the way a human works. A human's feet are tied to the ground. So a water bag feels better because it's aimed, it's gravity bound to the ground. So I love those. I love sleds. I have been relatively zero workout for the last month and a half and sleeping like 14 to 16 hours a day. Yesterday, I took a nap in the middle of the day for like 5 hours. It was ridiculous. I have no clue what's happening. Yeah, it's been ridiculous. Like to where getting ready for a podcast has been like, and I'm saying every podcast I do has been like legitimately bleary-eyed trying to figure out even like how to get stuff set up, like so tired. And I'm assuming it's just, maybe 1 month of the year, clock's changing, the time change.
Yeah, that fucks with you.
Yeah, but I would say boxing stuff, anything boxing. Running, I love. I still run all the time. So, but I love to trudge run. So, for example, I don't like music. I don't like anything. I like to stare at a blank wall and engage in misery as much as humanly possible. So what we'll do is we wear 60-pound weight bags and you just try to run until you can't run anymore. Like, I love that. It sounds so uncomfortable, and it is, but it is awesome. I don't know why I like it so much, but it's just like rah, 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 for hours. And your brain is like, this hurts so bad. And you're like, yes, it does. Continue. I love that.
Yeah, I don't go outside. It's funny you mentioned that. Oh, you don't? Okay, interesting.
I do not.
For me, it's a good opportunity to disconnect. So there's no phone. I don't like music either when I run. It doesn't. Even when I'm in the weight room, it never amped me up. It just didn't click. I just kind of like you. I engaged in the absolute pain of it, and push kind of mentality. I will say that with running, I always used it as a challenge. I think we were on the same page with this. Almost a way of saying no to negative parts of your brain. So even though I knew I could keep going, I'm like, I kind of want to stop for a walk break. And it's like, nope, fucking sprint up this hill now. And just kind of like when I start to say no, do something against what my body's asking. Sounds kind of counterproductive, but it's really helped a lot mentally, where I look forward to it just because once you're done sitting down to play games or watch a show or have a snack, it is the best fucking feeling in the world. There's nothing like it because you have earned it. Like you have not skimped out, but it's about holding yourself accountable. When it comes to eating and stuff, I think the Fitness Pal app is a very popular one, and I know it's probably not a very novel suggestion. Like, here's this unique little thing, but check that out if you're trying to lose weight. You can literally put in your goal weight. They'll tell you how much calories you should hit each day, and it'll factor it in as you can scan food. It's got a barcode scanner. Once again, completely free. And I used it a lot when I was trying to put on mass. I haven't lifted weights in a while because I hurt my elbow, but I'll just put it this way. I was at 135 in 2018. I was really light, and I wasn't happy with that because I was playing a ton of hockey. I wasn't eating enough, and so I was just dropping weight. And so I was tone shape, but I did not look healthy, in my opinion. So I said I wanted to start massing up. So I started using that app. I think I had to consume 2,500 calories per day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And so I started doing that alongside lifting. And I don't look it because I've obviously lost some of my muscle definition because of my elbow, because I can re-aggravate it really easily. But when I was working out and I hit about 155, I'm in 160 now. I'm definitely more filled out in areas. I definitely look better than I did when I was like consistently lifting weights because I had that definition and I filled it in, so to speak. So I would just say, long story short, Zach, if you're not using the Fitness Pal app, that's pretty major. That was helpful for me. My girlfriend uses it for weight loss. It helps her to keep track of stuff. To keep consistent, though, it's there's no fucking workaround. That's the thing that people don't get. You see how me and Karak just said, like, oh, we love the torture of it. Like, I don't know how else to put it other than, there's no workaround. Like, you just have to be the one who says, I'm going to run today. And set a schedule, if anything.
And if you're fat, run or swim is probably the best because the human body panics in those modes I've seen, and it's like I got to shed weight as quick as possible. I don't know of anybody who's lost weight. And running, by the way, doesn't burn as much as like a rowing machine. But for whatever reason, rotating your body through distance, the human brain does way more than we know it does. And whenever we have somebody in weightlifting or in boxing who needs to lose weight, rowing machine might work, but for whatever reason, it does not remove weight like running. And swimming, of course, is tremendous. It's just getting to a swimming pool now. I don't even know. I legit don't know how you do it. I don't even know what goes on with the illness and stuff. Like, how do you schedule the swimming pool or what? Which might be fun, but swimming is great. And yeah, there's no real cheat. There's drugs. And as somebody who has been in that scene for years, I know of some drugs that are pretty insane for weight loss. But almost everything, including working out, has a negative impact, like bad joints. Because, for example, in martial arts, jujitsu, bad backs. It's legitimately what you hear. Every single jiu-jitsu talks about stretching, flexibility. Guess what they're going to have regardless of that? A bad back. It's just for sure what occurs with that particular martial art. There's positive negatives, and I'm not saying do drugs. What I'm stating is you may hear that they
drugs, kids.
Right. You may hear that they do well. And there are some drugs that you don't even hear talked about that I know of that I'm like, holy shit, that's insane. And they're not illegal or anything. There's just some particular enzymes. But long story short, you're screwing something up. So one of the other things I would say is make sure you adjust it, because it gives your knees chance to heal if you're not running every single day. And it gives your back a chance to heal if you're not swimming, because some people do the frog stroke or breaststroke, depending on what, but where they bob, whoosh, they do that.
Right,
that actually arches your back a lot. And I know a lot of swimmers who have tried to lose weight and they're like, my neck is killing me. And it's like, yeah, because you're trying to bob it above the water. And then but they don't like freestyle because their face is underwater too much. And so what I would say is just vary it up. Vary it up. It's going to be the best. Basketball works. I know a lot of people who have a great time with a sport. I think sports are super helpful. Can you play basketball though, right now? Or do you have to wear you'd have to wear a mask. So that would be weird.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's just about, variety is definitely key. That's major.
Be right back. Dog's chewing something he shouldn't chew. I'm still listening.
No, you're good.
Go. I'm still listening.
No, you're good. I was going to move on to 5 anyway. So Zachary.
Hey, what are you doing?
Hope you help.
Sorry. Okay, go.
You're good. Number 5 because of Brandon Hardman, and then we'll get into the news. What's the best vegetable, and why is it Brussels sprouts?
Ooh, as long as you're not saying piss nasty asparagus. I think you and I talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Was it me and you, or was it me and somebody else?
Question. This might have been a ham question.
This might have been a ham question. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, Brussels sprouts are good. What else is good? I like pickles.
I'm surprised that you... Why don't you like asparagus? Is it because it like knocks you off your feet when you go to the bathroom afterwards? You're like, God, it smells like the food I just ate. Is that just like...
It's so nasty. It's grotesque. And I take a couple different normal medications that also affect that. So basically, so people know, sulfur is what stinks. So asparagus, but there's also sulfur drugs you might take called sulfa drugs for various things. And if you take them, they come out through urea, they come out through sweat, and you stink. You stink. So if you eat a bunch of asparagus, you will stink regardless if you're pissing. It will come out because it comes out in saliva, comes out in liquids. And I can smell somebody who's had asparagus in martial arts, man. We'll be rolling. I'll be like, dude, yesterday you had asparagus, didn't you? And like, it's nasty. It's nasty. I hate it. But Brussels sprouts are I really dig me some Brussels sprouts that are, if they're cooked right. And then I know I don't think you like it, but I sort of like them. I sort of like them with ketchup. I know that sounds so disgusting.
Brussels sprouts?
Yes, I dig them with ketchup. Okay. I don't know why, and I don't know where it came from. But I like a lot of vegetables. I just don't eat them. Green peppers are my favorite, actually. Green peppers.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up asparagus making people stink, just because I couldn't help but think of, there are just some people who smell. Like, there are just some people who, it just fucking happens. And you really experience that at PAX, where I'll be like walking on the show floor at 10 a.m. and I don't know how else to put it, but I just can't help but sit there and just ask, like, dude, what the fuck happened? Like, it's 10 in the morning. What did you do before to get to this point with the day just starting? So it's just funny you brought that up. It got me thinking. But favorite vegetable, I mean, I had to say it, man. On the topic of stinky, I'm an asparagus guy. I love roasted asparagus. Yeah, roasted asparagus.
Good. A little garlic on it.
Yeah, roasted any vegetables is good. Like, we just had roasted Brussels sprouts a couple days ago, and that was pretty good. Mixed vegetables is always good. Little green beans, got some corn, carrots, all that stuff in there. That's always nice.
I don't know about you. What about the big one, onions? Because I am a white, crispy onion fan. Like on a burger, I want
they
that.
They have to be soft.
What? Like slimy soft? Ah! No, that's that's wrong. Really?
So you bite into your burger and you get that like that's.
I want bones,
like a neck breaker.
Yeah, I want bones. I like. I'll eat. This is gonna sound gross. Try it, because what happens with onions is they open your olfactory bulb. This is gonna sound so crazy, but one of my friends one time was like, he made me a platter, with salamis and stuff, because I'm a big Atkins low carb fan. But he put onion on there, and he's like, try something for me. try a little snick, he called it, a little cut of onion with a slice of cheese by itself. And I was like, it's like white onion and cheddar cheese. Is like, dude, I swear to you, try it one time. My mouth is salivating. It is so fucking good. I don't know why. I think it's because the air that you get, you know, that extra air in your nose and everything makes the cheese, something about the cheese just,
I couldn't help but laugh because you made it a scientific reason why it was
bulb?
good. It's not.
It does. It does, man.
I just think that's fascinating because I'm just like, oh, it tastes good. It's ketchup. And you're just like, your olfactory bulb.
There's more atoms across the olfactory bulb folds, and that causes you to smell more. What about horseradish on your site? Because I'm a big horseradish fan. Do you like that?
Yeah, and maybe that produces the same effect that you're talking about. I like horseradish because I literally feel my whole nose clear up, and I'm just like, I can breathe again.
And it doesn't burn your mouth, Matty, so you can eat a spicy thing without burning your mouth, which is what Tapatio or jalapenos do not offer. And I think that's why I like horseradish as well.
Well, that's the thing. People who like jalapenos and hot peppers, we talked about it with working out, but you just like to fucking suffer during things that you're supposed to enjoy, in my opinion. Like, if you're just like, there are people who are like, let me throw the hottest shit on my burger.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Do you just want to be in pain while you, like, food is supposed to be enjoyable?
And
you're
you
just
can't
like, I'm
taste,
dying, man. It's great.
You know, and somebody will spend a lot of time. So whenever I hear somebody say, oh, I can't believe you put steak sauce on a steak, let's say. Some people are like that, or ketchup on a steak. And I'm like, listen, do you put super hot sauce on your chili or whatever? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then you know exactly how I feel, because you're doing the same thing just with a different food. You're making it so that the food, it tastes like the other thing, which isn't bad. It's not bad. It's just that you get a lot of hoity-toities who then don't look at the opposite side, which is that most likely every hoity-toity bastard out there does something that someone else hates with one of their favorite foods. It's just the way it is, man. We all have that one thing, you know?
My girlfriend has a friend who actually had so much hot sauce, like she put it on everything, that she started to burn a hole in the lining of her stomach.
Of her stomach, yeah. And what's funny is, did you know that a normal amount of hot sauce increases the stomach and makes it better? Because the muci in your stomach gets acclimatized to it. More muci comes out to protect it and actually protects your stomach. But if you go too far, you can make it worse. So there's this like, there used to be this old story where it's like, oh, don't have hot sauce because it'll burn right away. That's actually not true. It's if you have, like your friend did, too much. And then the body's response isn't enough. And now you're not building a response, almost like autoimmune, where you build up something by getting a shot for COVID. This would be like just getting COVID. I mean, that's what your friend did. They got the COVID of hot sauces, you know. They just, you know what I mean? They're just like, you know, if you're sitting there chugging Tapatio or something like that, that's at some point your body or your teeth won't.
I mean, dude, she had it in her fucking purse and she would just like put it on anything.
Oh, right.
Anything. She's all right. I think she's hilarious, but it was like very
insane. That's a lot
to think
for
about.
me. That's a little sweaty, you know, like that makes me a little sweaty to think about. I probably wouldn't be a fan of that. Just too much.
No. All right, let's get into the news where it's even hotter. Number one, Microsoft continues to show they're willing to spend big money. Reports have surfaced from Bloomberg that Microsoft is in talks with Discord to acquire them for more than $10 billion, according to people familiar with the matter. The site reports that Discord has been talking to multiple buyers like Epic and Amazon, and as of this moment, nothing is imminent for the two. One person familiar with the deal said Discord is more likely to go public than sell itself. Microsoft purchased Skype in May of 2011, where it held 160 million active users. It was reported in 2019 that it held 300 million active users per month. And in April of 2020, Skype holds 40 million daily active users. However, Microsoft has shifted their attention to Teams, which has received much more attention, of course, since the start of this pandemic, raking in 75 plus million members each day. Daily users each day. Teams has received multiple enhancements, such as boasting 1,000 plus people meeting rooms. With Game Pass rolling in features from other subscription services and Xbox's highlighting of crossplay, Discord seems to make sense from all angles for the big spending company. We got a lot of write-ins from this one. We'll start off with Michael Alimo. Apologize if I mispronounced your last name. What's up, fellas? There was a recent article discussing how Discord is allegedly exploring a $10 billion sale. Even though it's not confirmed, I can only imagine a company like Microsoft is perusing a purchase that big, which your assumption was correct. My question is, do you think Microsoft buying Discord is a good idea? Or would it be an endeavor that meets the same fate that Skype did? I can imagine they would learn from that mistake and instead just provide funding and native Windows and Xbox integration, which would be the best case scenario. What do you think? So I put the numbers for Skype in there because what's happened is Skype continued to grow. It just didn't grow as fast as other things. And I don't know if Microsoft is fully to blame for that personally, because you have something like Discord that is superior, but I feel like Skype just failed to evolve, but it didn't stagnate in its acquisition of people using it. But I wanted to put those numbers there in general because some people are like, oh God, Microsoft's going to get Discord. They're going to kill it. I don't think that'll happen personally, but I wanted to start off the conversation with the obvious thing. Xbox Discord integration. This fits perfectly with the whole crossplay mentality that Xbox has really been posturing, especially when their ecosystem includes both of these. I think this is necessary. I think it makes sense. And I do think Discord on consoles has been overdue. My issue is that if Microsoft gets it, I want PlayStation to have this. I want all consoles to have Discord. So my friends can go on Discord on their PlayStation. I can go on my Xbox. We can talk that way. Or my friends can be on PC. I'll be on PlayStation or Xbox. I want that. So I do hope if Microsoft does nail this deal, this is something that everyone can get, because I think locking that down, while it would make sense, would actually not be great for gaming. It would make Xbox more compelling. But I do think with the whole mentality of crossplay, that PlayStation would need something, because then it would demand a service to fill that void. PlayStation would create their own things. So then you got multiple chat services. And I think that presents a problem of its own. What do you make of some of that?
I think the reporting is incorrect.
Oh?
This is not Xbox. It's Microsoft. And Microsoft has Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams has various issues, and Discord is going towards business. And I would assume what you will see is Microsoft Teams be replaced and or improved with Discord technology. If that happens.
You think even with how well they were doing at the start of the pandemic and some of their new features?
Which one? Teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Teams is fairly hated. Teams is hated for a majority of reasons that are including security and including, by the way, Microsoft continually to be hammered by outside hackers. I don't know if you've heard this big thing that's been going on right now, but literally Microsoft daily is fighting off like 27 zero-day hacks currently on all their servers. They have a ton of issues currently. It's considered the biggest cyber hack of all time ever, by like 10 times bigger than the last one. And this has been happening for almost a month. I think there's some security questions on Microsoft. I think Microsoft Teams is fairly disliked compared to Zoom. We're using Riverside. You've got these other things that have come up, and I think Microsoft Teams is a legacy software. Feels old. Discord has had its own share of issues. So regardless of what does happen, Discord has a bunch of fixes they need to take care of, which would be better server support, not going down all the time. Discord goes down a lot, especially if you are like trying to do streams and stuff in Discord, which makes sense because we're all using it more, right? So I don't know if this purchase would be instantly gamified. We'll just say it that way. And if it is gamified, that's great. Your idea of wanting everybody to get it so that you can all, cross play and stuff, I think is admirable.
Really just cross chat.
But I don't. Yeah. I mean, okay. So, and here's another. Can I bitch for a second? I'm going to bitch for 1 minute.
By all means.
You can time me 1 minute.
Yeah.
I in no way, shape, or form trust Microsoft ever anymore. Here's why. This last Friday, I'm talking up Microsoft and I'm like, let's go in and let's play some games together, gents. So we go into Discord and we start fucking getting our different panels together on Windows. And it's like beta Windows, Xbox console companion. Open the store. Half the store says Game Pass games aren't there. The other store does. Half of the fucking clicks you open, a store opens, or the old beta opens, or the new beta for Origin opens, which doesn't allow you to run the original Origins, even though they don't even share the same fucking thing. Microsoft is so woefully behind the times for a software company handling software. They fucking suck. And that bothers me. And The idea of them getting Discord and having another, and I tweeted about this yesterday, the idea of them having Discord, so you click a thing to open a thing, which opens another thing that says, here's the beta of the open Discord that works for Microsoft, but not other things. And if people don't believe me, I have 6 Xbox apps on my PC right now. 6. And some of them work together, some don't. Some offer streaming, some don't. Some will say it's brand new. You go in, it's missing 6 of the options that the old one has. Like, I don't trust them, Matty. I want this all to happen. But currently, Microsoft, and I get why people think I like Microsoft. I'm on a Microsoft like podcast. But you're fucking stupid if you think so. Because Microsoft fails in the one thing that they should have been able to do since day one. They can't even do a Windows update correctly. Like, and you
Mine
and I
bugs
had
out
this
all the time. Is that just me?
No,
Mine bugs out all the time.
My entire Discord right now.
my...
Yeah, my entire Discord right now is dealing with it. I actually had to close the Discord because they're all bitching.
Dude, this studio computer I've got here, I have restarted for updates like daily.
Yeah,
and I don't know if they're just dropping new updates. That's what I thought.
Summer
it's like,
security,
it's
I'm
one of those
sure.
things where you're becoming so in tune with it that you don't think about it, but every day it's updating. I'm thinking, is this the same fucking update? Like, what are you doing now? I have no idea what's being added or changing.
Yeah. So I like all the ideas of this, but I do not currently trust Microsoft to be able to integrate it adequately so that we all look at this in a year and go, I'm glad they got Discord. I feel that it will be another panel for another thing that opens and sometimes works, but only depending on 5 other things. And that is really the Origin thing is a disaster, by the way. That is a unmitigated clusterfuck. If you have tried to look at the new beta for EA on the desktop for PCs versus the original Origins, and today I tried to play a game and it's like, don't open Origins desktop and the new beta Origins desktop and Origins, close one of them. And I looked, neither were open. They weren't even live services. I used Process Explorer. They weren't even on the PC. So it was finding something that had nothing to do with Origin, thinking it was Origin, and telling me to turn it off. Like, I just don't have a lot of support for them, personally.
No, I get that. And I'm there with you where they've definitely had some sloppy integration or stuff that just feels stitched on. I usually, for example, I think of Microsoft Edge. I don't know if you use that, but like I immediately just go download Google Chrome and unpin that from my taskbar.
Right.
I don't use many baked in apps. From a gaming perspective, I think Discord makes a lot of sense, which just to shift the conversation slightly, and then we'll get back to it. Will Selfridge also wrote in, hey, Duke Dudes, with the rumors that Microsoft is looking to buy Discord, do you think Microsoft is looking to buy for Xbox? I'm sorry, not for Xbox. I know Discord is huge with gamers and rooted in game chat, but do you think Microsoft's primary plans are rooted in the company's tech with applications to Skype and Microsoft Teams, and not just to add another company to Phil Spencer's Infinity Gauntlet? I only ask because I feel like there's a lot of people who forget that Microsoft does a whole lot more than Xbox in gaming. Yeah, and I think this would be once again, that's why the labeling is clear. I made sure to say in my write-up, Microsoft continues to show they're willing to spend money, and I did not mention Xbox. But for those who are unaware, this is a Microsoft purchase. It's something that confuses people because names within names just don't work. So when I talk about Bethesda, people are like, oh, Bethesda Game Studios. It's like, no.
Including me.
That would be the developer. It happens. And it's sloppy naming on their behalf in some ways, but in others, it's the tight association between Microsoft and Xbox. When you have like Satya Nadella out there rooting on the, say, acquisition of Bethesda, it looks like Microsoft and Xbox are one at times.
True. Yeah.
So you can't blame people, but I think this is a acquisition that makes sense, right? I think it addresses something that both companies would be interested in. Like Xbox, it's obvious. I don't think we even need to talk about that too much. Is the idea of let's make an app. They had a Skype app on the Xbox One. Let's make a Discord app.
Yeah.
You can hop into a server so your friends on PC can talk with you while you're on your Xbox.
Stream to sense. Discord, Matty. Stream your console to Discord. Like that shit would be
I didn't
next
think
level.
of that. That's a good idea.
That's like, to me, that's the magic land. Is not like right now they don't even have a Twitch setup for Xbox. Like things that on the Xbox and PS4 were there aren't even on the new one very much. PC or PS5 is a little bit ahead, but yeah, I would love to see that. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. Whereas Microsoft makes sense strictly from a software perspective, and I think replacing See, the thing is we don't know what they're thinking, where they have something in mind, maybe to change with Discord, make it more business oriented.
Take the tech.
It's fun. It's funny enough you mentioned the lack of business, because earlier last year, I said this in my video, earlier last year, I had heard that the fun side of Discord was kind of going from some people. And I was just like, interesting. And you don't really see it, but then you hear about something like this. The people that they were talking about selling to, Epic, Amazon, and Microsoft, two of those really are rooted in what I would say is not fun. And Microsoft could end up being fun because of Xbox, but it depends how much they change it. You see, what happened was they got Skype and they failed to evolve it. So do they grab Discord and try to evolve it more and more? That's my question, because the stagnation of Skype is, I think, something that, once again, the numbers speak for themselves. Skype is still used. Skype is still popular. It's just not as popular. So does Xbox/Microsoft really kind of take that route and say, hey, we'll let Discord operate independently beneath us, kind of like Skype does, like Bethesda does. Just let them do their own thing, evolve the product as they wish, and we'll just keep pushing those updates out on PCs. Like when you get a brand new PC, you boot it up and Discord's a pre-installed app, that type of thing.
Yeah,
is what I envision. Or do they just kind of leave it as is? And
I hope they don't, because their technology is good in Discord. You've got auto attenuation, so if you talk, I can have my audio turned down. If I talk, yours. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can stream internally, and you've got your groups and your private groups and your DMing, all that stuff. It's a social. It's not only for teams, because Discord has been open. They dropped the game store. They're going for business. It's not only for teams, but yeah, you could have some awesome. Dude, I just imagine hitting a button and it says, do you want to stream to Twitch, or do you want to stream to Discord, or do you want to mirror? Imagine something crazy like mirroring. The ability to mirror between the two would be awesome. So, or I guess that would be Facebook, wouldn't it? Didn't Microsoft join up with Facebook? Now that I think about it, I think it's Microsoft and Facebook that are sort of doing, gaming. But yeah, man, it would be. I think their technology is pretty good, and it's pretty known by people. Also, the back end, Matty, one thing to remember is, yes, Discord removed the store, but that doesn't mean it's removed. You can't see it, right? But what if Microsoft started doing shit like, let's go into Cloudland. What if Microsoft stated, all right, stream to your Discord, and we're going to start showing you the ability to give away Xbox games in your Discord to people. And it's separated from Twitch, which admittedly, Twitch is a disaster right now. Twitch is all over the place with its creator rules. It's not been good. And YouTube has its own issues. What if Microsoft was like, Facebook's got its own thing. Maybe you can stream to Facebook, but internally, dude, I would love it. I would love the ability to do all that. What if they mix it with the cloud so you can see somebody else's game while you game? Like, there's some stuff you could do with Discord.
Yeah, there's some real potential with Discord and Xbox, and I think that's why it makes sense from our perspective, but the Microsoft side of things, I think, is the biggest wedge. If you look at it strictly from gaming, you go, all right, this is actually awesome, I would say. But I think with Microsoft and how they handled, or lack thereof, of Skype and kind of got left to the wayside might be a dagger to Discord. Because when Skype was acquired, that was the primary tool I used. My friends would hop in group calls on Skype, or I remember back in the day, dual commentaries was a thing. Early 2010s, you'd get like yourself and one other creator in a Skype call. You'd record the Skype call. Pretty much the idea you and I do with Discord with Ham Radio Podcast. We hop in and we record the call. Kind of the same thing back then. That was sort of the beginning of all of that. It's where, creating a friends list there. Like it was the thing, but then over time it kind of started to phase out. We used Skype for a while for the podcast until I think in 2017 or 18, you told me about Discord, and that's when we started using that instead, because there was less latency. It was more stable connection.
More stable.
That was another thing, despite Discord sometime phasing out. But yeah, I think from the Microsoft side of things, that's the point of concern, and nothing's imminent, but still worth discussing, and some pretty interesting news nonetheless, because Xbox could really stand to benefit at this. I agree it is. I appreciate you saying it's admirable. I do hope that they don't lock that down, though. They will, but I would hope that they don't on the gaming side of things. Let Discord come to PlayStation.
So I'm sure Android, that kind of stuff, but you're saying let it come to PlayStation, man. I don't know, dude. Like, I get your idea, but what if it does? How do you see that? What do you see? Just that we're playing completely separate games, but we can now talk but while playing console, is that what you, without needing Discord on your PC, which is currently.
Because and I know some people are going to call me out on this, and I already know people are going to be like, well, why do you say Bethesda but not Discord? And I get that. I get that. I think there's just a difference between a product for communication and socialization and a game purchase that is designed to bring you to the console. Yeah, no, I just think, again, by all means, because I may be missing something, I would like you to just challenge me or anything if I'm not thinking of this right. But the more I thought about it, I would say I would hope this is something that would make its way to PlayStation, because more so for me, it's, as I said in the beginning of all this, I feel it leads to the creation of another chat app. And that would just present, now you've got another account, another chat place. So you've got core discs on PlayStation where you can do PC and PlayStation, and then you've got Discord on Xbox and PC. I don't know. I just don't want another account personally.
Here's why I can't see that happening, though. I was thinking that through. Going,
I don't see it happening either, to be clear.
I thought it sounded cool, and then it dawned on me, Microsoft wouldn't be able to use Discord to give away Xbox games because you might be saying that on a PlayStation console.
So forget it. It's not going to happen.
That sucks. But that does suck, because I was like, oh, okay, now I get you. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, shit. Because what it would do...
There's too much potential there. I don't blame them.
And yeah, dude, this is the one problem with exclusive stuff is communication stuff. People do think of games, but like you said, if you separate games... Was Skype ever on PlayStation? That's the question.
No.
So there was an Xbox app for Skype. There was not for Play. What about Twitter? Twitter's been on both. There was a Twitter. I don't know if it was a Twitter app, but there was a right now PS4 and I think PS5 have Twitter.
You can share to Twitter.
Okay, so maybe they're not even Twitter apps. Maybe they're just PS5 designed apps.
It's more like a share button connected to social media accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's not going to happen. It's just more so. I should have said that beforehand before I get like reamed. But I was more so just saying that
it'd be cool.
It would be cool to see. Yeah, but I doubt that will happen. So with that, let's get into number 2, talking a little bit more about PlayStation. Unexpectedly, Avengers Next Gen upgrade, which released this week, brought some much needed attention to Xbox's seamless upgrade process via smart delivery. One thing that we hammered on prior to launch on ham radio, and we've continually ate our words. In order to transfer saves from Avengers to PS4 to PS5, the official Twitter account suggests to do the following. So I'm reading these tweets verbatim. How to migrate your save from PS4 to PS5. Launch the fully patched PS4 version and go to the Save Migration tab on the main menu to initiate the upload. Once the migration is done, launch the PS5 version where you'll be prompted to download the data. Even if you have the PS4 and PS5 version of the game on the same console, save migration is necessary to boot the save on the PS5 version. So let's say you have a PS4 version of Avengers. You have a PS5 console. If you have both apps installed, you need to have them fully updated, and you need to boot up the PS4 version still to upload to make a PS5 version. They said you'll need to download the latest update for the PS4 version so you can download the PS5 version. Did I say PS5 twice? For the PS4 version so you can download the PS5 version.
Oh, gotcha.
If you're running the version of the PS4 game that has not been updated, you won't see the Save Migration tab and won't be able to transfer save data. It should be noted that this has been a continuous speed bump for PlayStation 5 users. Games such as Spider-Man, I personally struggle with this, and even Control to some extent, have offered players a lot of trouble, where on Xbox it's been as simple as booting up the game and everything is there. Furthermore, Yakuza Like a Dragon and Dirt 5 have served as early examples where you can't even import your saves on PlayStation 5. Joe Carpenter writes in, "Hey Dukes, first time writing in. I just wanted to give my appreciation for smart delivery. When it was talked about before launch, it looked like a buzzword for a simple upgrade, but I feel Sony has really dropped the ball with their upgrade structure. Not only with games downloading the PS4 version rather than PS5, and this whole convoluted way of downloading the Avengers PS4 save, in the UK at least, we have to wait 4 days to upgrade Crash PS4 to the PS5 version. The store would say upgrade was unavailable because you already owned it on PS4. That's the point, isn't it? I just think about how easier it would have been to get it on Xbox and have smart delivery just auto-download it. Sorry for the rant. It's just one of those quality of life things Xbox introduced that really needs to be recognized. Cheers from Wales, Joe." So I appreciate this because it's not a write-in from an Xbox fan. And I understood when I presented this, I was thinking, do I want to talk about this? Because I feel like it looks like an excuse to attack PlayStation. But I think the reality is that when you and I talked about this service, we'll say, smart delivery, we were very much like, what's the point of it? It doesn't make sense. It just sounds like, as Joe had wrote, buzzword, like the exciting thing, smart delivery. But what's happened is Xbox has only had to sit back and let you casually upgrade your games, import your saves, play stuff on your next-gen consoles, where on PlayStation, you had to jump through these loops sometimes. When I wanted to get my Platinum Trophy on my PS5 for Spider-Man Remastered, transferring saves was a bitch. I had to re-download the game on PS4. I had to go up and down my stairs, uploading saves, downloading them in very specific ways. I even had to look up a walkthrough online. Some people may call me an idiot for that. At times, I'm not the most technically inclined. But what I'm saying is that there are some times that this shit actually sucked, and it has continued to, where you see these very weird ways of approaching it. Same thing with PlayStation selecting the version of the game that you play. There have been times I have booted up the PS4 version instead, which makes no sense why that would even be the priority. That happened a lot with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, where I just where's my save data? And I realized I'm on the PS4 version. So just something I wanted to highlight. What do you think of where smart delivery stands, thanks to really just PlayStation system being in place and kind of speaking for itself on how Xbox kind of got this right?
Yeah, I was sort of negative to this, but I was more confused on this than I was really negative on that quick resume. Dude.
Quick resume or smart delivery?
Just quick resume. That's the one I was more negative on than this. So this one, sort of negative. I was like, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Why would this be an issue? And then we found out, oh, apparently that is an issue. Apparently it's much more of an issue than I always was like, dude, how could that even be possible? You just click a button, it's going to know which version you want. If it's the PS5 version is available, of course you would and you're on a PS5, that's the one you would download. I couldn't not figure it out, but apparently Black Ops in particular is the one I had issues with. Apparently it's a big thing. I was more negative towards quick resume, which has turned out to be stellar. With this one, makes sense. I think it's coming to the fore, some of it, just because Sony has made some dumb decisions. And so those will go away and it'll be less of a, feather in the cap kind of thing. But I think for right now, it's pretty useful, and it's pretty convoluted. Also because the companies just don't make sense in what they're releasing. I've had so many people tell me there's not a next-gen version of a game. And I'm like, no. Do you mean there's not a next-gen enhanced version for the game? Because if you're saying there's not a next-gen version of the game, it really just means it doesn't run on the next-gen version. They'll be like, oh, no, it runs. And you're like, all right, our language is getting screwed up. And I think the language for this particular service is what's screwed up so many PlayStation developers. They just somehow that it doesn't get through. And luckily, I think they've fixed what version. I don't think that happens as much, but man, it was happening a lot. And obviously Avengers shows that it still does in a major way. Avengers, what a game to have this issue though. The five people who wanted to play the DLC had issues, I suppose. Dude, it went to 2,500 people, which by the way, that's less than the people by one. That is 1/10 the people who listen to this podcast are playing Avengers. That's shit. Sorry, but that's shit. That's shit. That's some straight up shit numbers. It just released its DLC, and that's all it had. So
hey, let's do that right now. Let's have some fun. Avengers Steam player count.
Steam player count. Yeah,
I love doing this. Love just being. All right, so as of 38 minutes ago, 2,000. So this DLC did reinvigorate
by 1,000.
Yeah, which looks good on paper, but when you started off at, I think last we checked, this was 450. Not so great.
Well, yeah, if you have sex one time a year and then you have twice, that means 100% improvement. But really, you're still celibate technically. Their player base is celibate.
Cold every time you go in.
Man. You're still relearning the moves. You're like, how's this hip work? And console can't be any better. The game is, it's in dire straits, and the fact that PlayStation, the fact that the developers, whoever did all this, couldn't figure this out is sort of sad, because it's not even a major release of a game. Imagine something big happened. Imagine it was WoW's not on there, but you get my drift. Imagine if this was a big game where this happened. It would be a ton of people not serviced for a title they want to play, which would really suck.
Let's say, honestly, I think it would release with the next gen enhancements in package, but let's say it's the next Horizon, right? Like, that's supposed to be cross-gen, PS4 and PS5. What if you bought PS4 and you wanted to say, all right, I want to carry everything over to my new PS5 now?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I think it's going to maybe, unless they figure something out in between then and now, which would be great. I think that's where it can be popping up again. And I think, not like I'm not one of those people like, a win for Xbox, and you get fired up about it. But it's one of those things where these are, I look at stuff like our Discord app conversation. You look at something like this. Convenience speaks.
Quality of life.
Right? It speaks, right? Games talk a lot, but quality of life is, I think, the thing that gets you over the hump. To be able to say, like, you can get this, that, and you can talk on Discord, and you can get your upgrades. Like, they're game planning pretty well, and that's why I wanted to spotlight it a little bit. Yeah. Not to shame PlayStation. We've never done this on the show. We've talked about their games before and what we like about them. We've had segments dedicated to them, like Days Gone coming to PC. So it's not that. I just want to emphasize that once more, but it needs to be talked about. That's the reality. PlayStation's kind of fumbling the ball on that, and Xbox is picking it up and carrying it back for a 78-yard touchdown. So
78 yards is very specific, so I need to ask, was that 76 Fallout plus 2 yards? Like, how did you come up with the number 78?
Oh, I was not thinking that at all, but maybe.
It was very specific. I loved it. It was like 78, not 100 yards.
It really was.
Not 70.
I was going to say 100. I'm like, damn, he fumbled it in the end zone? That sucks.
Yeah, that's rare. That's rare. It happens, but that's rare.
Yeah, I was like, how about 78? It's a big return. It's a big return.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3. This would normally be our number 1, but since we're going to be talking about more next week, I didn't want it to become a pointless segment for people because there will be extensive discussions happening. Sustaining its momentum, Xbox has announced their first ever ID at Xbox Twitch Gaming Showcase, which airs on March 26th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I will personally be streaming this, by the way, Karak. I don't know if you will be, if you want to let the audience know.
What day is today? Wednesday, right?
24th,
yeah. Almost likely. We should talk afterwards to figure out. I do have that podcast, but I would like to figure out if it's Xbox stuff, how to get a merge there. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
I most likely will stream that. You said 9
it'd be 9 your time, 12 mine.
That's a rough get for me, but I'll try to do that one for sure.
All right. We'll talk about it off the air. The aim of this showcase is to show off more than 100 games from developers all over the world. Developers and publishers such as Drinkbox Studios, Curve Digital, Devolver Digital, Dear Villagers, and more will tag in to make announcements of their own. The showcase promises to debut new trailers and gameplay for more than 25 games, including the following: Second Extinction, The Ascent, The Wild at Heart, Void Train, and Exo 1. So these are, by the way, currently exclusive to Xbox on consoles. There will also be announcements about independent games making their way to Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. Now, I wanted to clarify 2 things before we really start up this conversation. There were 2 drops of misinformation poured out of this announcement that do need clarifying. Hades, the roguelike indie darling from developer Supergiant Games, was rumored to be an Xbox reveal at this showcase, as its cover art was featured in promotional art for the show. Glenn, don't know his last name, just Glenn, who runs marketing at ID at Xbox, tweeted out in response to this saying, quote, "Hey, just to set expectations correctly, no, Hades will not be featured in Friday's show. Its inclusion in the artwork was an error," end quote, which I don't know how that accidentally happened, so speculation would lead me to think that's going to happen at some point down the line, just not now. Also, the initial write-up at ID at Xbox mentioned an update on Stalker 2 would be provided. However, developer GSC Game World clarified what to expect. In a photo posted on their official Twitter account, they said, quote, "March 23rd will mark the 14th anniversary of Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. Celebrating the date, last year, we released the first in-engine screenshot of Stalker 2. This time, we made a neat behind-the-scenes video with certain in-game materials demonstration. We prepared this for Microsoft Stream on March 26th, but the whole thing was revealed a little bit too early on Xbox Wire. We didn't plan to show more during this showcase, but we do have bigger and louder announcements in store for 2021. So what that means, end quote, is gameplay is not going to be there. So keep your expectations in check for Stalker 2 and don't expect to see Hades there. With that, however, Karak, we got ourselves an indie showcase. Maybe a little bit of surprises there. Out of some of the games I listed that are going to get updates, like Second Extinction, The Ascent, Wild at Heart, Void Train, XO1, any of those stand out to you, or anything you've been seeing in the indie scene that you hope comes to Xbox?
Second Extinction's fun.
It looked cool.
I've played a bunch of that on Steam, and that's actually really enjoyable. I don't know why they're calling like Stalker independent or at an indie show. So once I found out Stalker might be shown there, my idea of what an indie means is sort of went out the window for this event. The other ones, I don't really know any of those titles. I would say Stalker was probably the one that I knew the most. And again, Second Extinction. So I would say I'm going into this one pretty blind. I mean, just overall, it feels like I'm going into it.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm not going to look up the stuff. I'll just go into it and, hopefully there's something, one or two games there that entice me.
I'm really excited about The Ascent. That one has been on my radar. I can't even remember that one since they showed it off. It's the top-down action RPG. Looks like a twin-stick shooter almost. It's got verticality, destructible environments.
Oh, shit, I know what that is.
Like the cyberpunk-looking game.
That game looks awesome. That game looks awesome. Yeah.
I agree. And so I'm excited about that. I also think of, I've brought this up so many times. I always get its name wrong because it's been out of the cycle since 2018. The Last Night?
The Last Night, yeah. Yeah, cannot wait.
That game looked awesome.
Epic. Yeah.
It looked like art style. It was dripping with atmosphere. And I was thinking, man, I want to play that game. So I'm hoping that gets a re-reveal or something. That's for me, a day one purchase. I think this is the year I can dive back into indies. Last year, I really kind of wobbled on that a lot. And I want to get back into it because we're seeing some really cool stuff. XO1, I don't know if you remember this one. It was like a giant mech, almost Titanfall looking game. It was a multiplayer game, of course, but that looked really cool too. A lot of indies here that don't scream indie. It shows how far things are coming, and it's really exciting. And all of these are going to be, that we mentioned, are day one Game Pass. So when they do drop on consoles, on PC, you'll be able to have them, try them out. But that would just be my suggestion, is keep the eye out for The Ascent. That's a nifty looking title there. They have some gameplay out if anyone wants to check it out. But other than that,
people aren't getting it, man. There's so many. They are. You'll hear, Game Pass is. Hearing Game Pass is a deal now. Even I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear that word. Oh, dude, yeah, I'm done. I'm done hearing that or saying it. We get it. It is. Yeah. But it's that's now saying we need oxygen to survive. We get it. We do. So, however, now I can look more at the games versus all the games. And so instead of saying, all these games are a deal, now I'm doing what you're doing. There's a tiny bit more time to look at, let's say, a indie and get it and at least experience it. I felt that way with Second Extinction, where I got to play a game that just probably wouldn't set the world on fire. I don't think people understand that setting the world on fire is great, but we all know that setting the world on fire is what everybody else is doing. I'm talking as a content creator right now. So if I know that Cyberpunk is coming out, everybody else knows Cyberpunk is coming out. And so all that really is everybody knowing the same thing is coming out and aiming for the same day. However, for example, we do backwards compatible games on this podcast, and we do, what's the other one? Game Pass games. So we do those. So the ability to have more of those and have somebody who's playing the big game, but maybe is I don't want to play Outriders because this gameplay is mediocre and Square's a shit company. What should I play? They see I'm just joking. They see an indie on there that we talk about, and they get to go play something that completely surprises them. And I think that that's where Game Pass this year is probably going to be really stellar. A lot of surprises. And by the way, nobody will ever give kudos to Microsoft. It won't happen. If Sony did this, people would be like, it's the best thing ever. Oh, they'd be singing songs in the streets. Microsoft does it, and people are like, where are their games? It's all right, man, whatever. They
can only do so much. That's what I've been telling people for a while, is what's going to happen is, if you look at their calendar of, rather their timeline of announcement in typical game dev cycles, I could totally see, provided it gets delayed, a Halo Infinite fall, a Starfield spring, Fable next year, Hellblade 2 next year. And then you round them out with these types of games where I do wonder where the goalposts are going to get moved to next. I really do.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is there's a weird energy. Like I'm looking at Game Pass's library. I wasn't trying to tune you out or anything, but I was looking at Game Pass's library, and they do include things like I'm looking at Madden. They say NFL 21 for Xbox One, Madden NFL for Series X and S, and they'll count that as 2 games. But it's saying that at least on the search results when I click on console that 375 results. I just say 300 plus. I mean, it's just insane how much is there, and there are people who go like, "This is the worst thing that's going to happen to gaming," and I'm like, I hope people keep this same mentality when PlayStation tries their own Game Pass, which they've said they're going to. Because then I want to see how that conversation shifts a little bit.
Well, it'll be filled with the same blather Skype that we've seen before. They'll find a way to reverse it.
Well, yeah. I had someone tweet me when I saw that Microsoft was in on Discord. I should have said this earlier. I quoted it, and I was just like, they're the ideal fit for this, is what I said. And someone was like, Matty, monopolization is bad. I'm like, when in the fuck is Discord joining Xbox monopolization? Like, that's the next thing that's coming for them. They're gonna buy another studio. That's gonna happen.
By the way,
some deals, and it's gonna be called monopolization. I'm like, what the fuck,
dude? That's actually it is not actual. Oh man, I'm just gonna get stressed. If you sound like a fucking idiot, and you're using the wrong words, which we've all done, but don't do it on Twitter in particular, because that'll be forever. You need to start using, if you have an issue with Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo, use the proper English. And the reason why is because when you get gatekeeping used, when gatekeeping is not used, that instantly removes gatekeeping as a word that is heavy when gatekeeping is actually used correctly. And it bothers me. It bothers me. We changed shell shock to post-war traumatic syndrome. It's a far softer word, but it means less. It doesn't. If somebody says somebody has shell shock, I'm like, what the fuck is that? When somebody says they have post-war traumatic syndrome, I'm like, all right, you can get that from anything. So these misuses of words like that, misuse of monopoly, which by the way, that makes no sense. It's not factual. It's not scientific.
So many people say it,
but it's not. They can say it, but all they do is they make other people from other entertainment venues or somebody who's even thinking about it. Let's say my older brother, who doesn't really do gaming as much, looks into Twitter to talk about new games because he's getting back into gaming, and he sees somebody misuse a word that dramatically. Like, that lowers the intelligence. It causes you to come in and go, it's almost the same thing as saying NASCAR's all left turns. Admittedly, for most NASCAR tracks it is. It's not for every NASCAR track, but for most it is. And it's like, oh, it's all the same 5 rednecks that win every year. That's actually not true. We use it as a joke, but monopoly isn't a joke. And what happens is when you see these words there, they are the filter in which you engage with the entertainment. And I just think it makes us look really stupid. And then how do you back it up when somebody says, actually, it's not a monopoly? They can either continue to argue that it is and they'd be wrong, or they change their wording and they're already at a bad position in the argument.
Yeah.
It just
exactly. Me. And I think even Bethesda getting absorbed into Xbox, I don't think that creates a monopoly situation.
It absolutely does not create a monopoly. There is nothing whatsoever in that creates any kind of monopoly at all.
Yeah. So that's what keeps happening. And so, not to jump to the other side of the fence, but that's what's just happening is a lot of this is when Microsoft is getting aggressive, it's starting to get turned into monopoly. And just all I'm saying is to those of you out there who are big Xbox fans, get ready because it's gonna happen. They're gonna.
Do you know what a monopoly would be, Matty? Would be a company having all and only the baseball rights for sport.
It would be if Xbox absorbed like PlayStation.
No.
Even then.
Technically, even then it would still leave Nintendo and iPhone. But when, let's say, NBA, if a company said NBA will only be on one platform, that isn't even really monopoly, but it's the beginning of a terminology where you could use it and you wouldn't be considered an absolute ignoramus if you use the term. Yeah. Because that's blocking it off. That is blocking off the actual thing. Where like Bethesda and all of its things, that's quite a different situation.
You could use the word dominant. I think that'd be fair.
Yeah, you could use that because, for example, I can't make an NBA game. As in, if it's all on PlayStation and I'm a Microsoft, I can't call it NBA because I quite literally am not able to call it NBA, but I can call something whatever I want and have it be a fantasy game. Therefore, there's that is not a monopoly. It's a completely different thing. I don't know. It just bothers me.
For sure. Number 4, after making an appearance on beta tester dashboards, Microsoft has confirmed the rebrand of Xbox Live to Xbox Network after 18 years with the former title. Quote, Xbox Network refers to the underlying Xbox Online service, which was updated in the Microsoft Services Agreement. The update from Xbox Live to Xbox Network is intended to distinguish the underlying service from Xbox Live Gold memberships, end quote. Back in August, Microsoft said it wasn't rebranding its service and had no plan to discontinue Xbox Live Gold. However, Xbox would then go on to hike up the price of Gold at the start of 2021 before reversing said decision. Cody Richter writes in saying, hey, Dukes of Hazzard, with the announcement of Xbox Live being rebranded to just Xbox Network, do you guys see any potential changes in Xbox Live Gold? Microsoft already stated that the Gold membership will still be named the same, but do you think this is a move as a stepping stone towards future changes in regards to Gold and Game Pass and how they work together? Or is this nothing more than a simple rebranding to try and simplify things? I have a theory. So obviously Game Pass is the future for them, or their major platform in the future, and they envision that, where I don't think Xbox Live is going to be a thing, but I feel like Xbox Network makes more sense if you're not a Live member and you're a part of the Xbox Network. If you're playing on, say, a smart TV, like through an app there, and you're on different platforms, as it goes beyond Xbox Live, which is like the Xbox Online thing, right? Like that's like you're on Xbox Live, right? You're playing 360 multiplayer or something like that was what I thought of with Xbox Live. I think as it moves on and it goes to more platforms, Xbox Network, you're branching to multiple areas. I feel that's a little more fitting, but at the end of the day, I'm sure you feel the same. I think it's kind of fucking dumb, and I don't see the point in it. And I can only speculate as to why, if anything, they would do this. But for me, quite frankly, I'm just like, why? Why? Seems to make no difference either way.
You mean why change the name?
Yeah, unless they're making changes to the live service, which I feel like over time that's going to get either rolled into Game Pass, where Game Pass is this thing that says it comes with this, and they add more tiers to it. I could totally see something like that happening, but when they just try to increase Gold and then roll it back, it seemed like a very kind of back and forth to then just remove Live or something, like some people have really speculated. So, I mean, what is your interpretation? We can kind of go forward from there.
I mean, it could just be where in the future it'll be called like, I mean, what would you call it? Like Xbox. I've always thought Gold would get rolled in some way, and it would be like Xbox Gold is just like everything, streaming, all that, and then maybe they call something Xbox Silver, even though we've had this, and that is all of the stuff that you want and the ability to download patches and all that stuff, but maybe you're missing the Game Pass and you're missing games with Gold. I don't really know. I just know that to me it doesn't matter. So like it's just a name change that to them Network probably makes sense because there's a chance they're on iOS, so you call it Network. It makes sense. It's fitting. Sounds like
right.
Networked connectivity.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you change Network could mean Xbox and Switch, PlayStation in the future. It could mean all that. I mean, PS4 is PS Live, or they've got PS. What do they have? They have PS Now, right?
PlayStation Network.
They've got PlayStation Network. So it makes sense if it is a network to use that term. But I think it's become I think it's become a news because everybody thinks everything is news right now, and it's not.
Yeah,
that would personally be like my thought process on it.
I get it. Yeah, I wouldn't argue against that personally. I do feel like just when it comes to this, it's just a very strange change, and I think it's just a match as it goes to new platforms. As you're able to experience Xbox games, we'll say, on other platforms, Network would maybe make a little more sense. I mean, you see that on like a phone or a smart TV.
Yeah, because maybe they're thinking that you're not always live, but you're still always going to be on the network.
Yeah, like Live to me,
of games or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Live to me just says Xbox, and I think that could be part of the reason why, like just an association of Xbox multiplayer.
Yeah,
the live days,
just the idea of just getting it more generic so that it's even less questionable to a competitor who might be asked if you want it on there. You know, if you're like, if you called your system Xbox the best and you went to Sony and you're like, can I get Xbox the best on your system? They'd be like, well, no, because that's weird. That's weird if we put that on there. But if you're starting to soften everything to network and all that stuff, I don't know. It's a little less cagey as a term.
Not worth sticking on for much longer, but still worth discussing nonetheless. Number 5, Xbox quietly added a console exclusive to its lineup months ago, and we're receiving an update on it on when it'll arrive. Mech Warrior 5 is coming to Xbox One, X, and S, Series X and S, I should specify, on May 27th, 2021. Already available on the Epic Games Store, Mech Warrior 5 sits at an average score of 71 over on OpenCritic. The game will also arrive to 2 new PC storefronts, being Steam and GOG. Alongside, the announced release date was DLC, which was delayed to coincide with the new launch date. DLC goes by the name of Heroes of the Inner Spire, which takes you to the moon, boasts new mechs to pilot, and even adds in a career mode. Matthew Armelli is our next write-in. Hey guys, Mech Warrior 5 has a confirmed release date for Xbox consoles, May 27th. It's finally shedding its shackles from the Epic Games Store. Is this game going to be any good? It released pretty mixed over there. The old mech assaults were tons of fun, so I feel there's potential on the console. You boys have any love for mech games? Titanfall sticks out for me. Hope we see a third. Anyway, Mega's XLR was a good show. Take care. So, have you played Mech Warrior 5 at all? Did you review it?
Dude, I reviewed that thing. I would say 70 to 80 is probably that's fair. They had some issues with co-op. You could play co-op, but you had to play the first couple hours, which always sucks, by the way. Bad idea. Never do that, people.
Dragon Quest Builders 2 made you play about 15 hours.
Made you play it about 15 hours. What? It's the dumbest idea in the universe, man. You're absolute ignoramus idea. So overall, I think it's great. I'm a Mech Warrior fan. And a Mech Assault fan. This is not Mech Assault. People need to remember. Wiseman, who did Hasbro WizKids, went on to do Shadowrun. He's the creator of Mech Assault and Battletech and all these. But Mech Assault was under his umbrella. Mech Warrior is not under him. It's a completely different group. It's not the same kind of gameplay either. But that being said, Mech Warrior is fun. It's a blast. And Mech Warrior is one of those games where it's all about heat management. So you got to make sure like you don't overheat and stuff, but you're mixing guns together so you can so that you don't produce too much heat, but you can put out the most damage, or you have the fastest mech. And it's very cool in a mini-max way. There's builds, I guess. It would be the easiest way if you're a build fan for any game. Mech Warrior, that's the one thing, is that every chassis has a certain weight limit, which means certain guns can only be used on certain ones. It also has sort of an unlimited mode that's in there that lets you sort of basically patrol the galaxy and continually do missions. So it's not necessarily never ending, but it can feel that way. It's got a mercenaries mode where you're basically the leader of a mercenary unit, and every job you do, you have to salvage other mechs, take them home, repair them so that you can repair and build your own mechs. It's very, what would the term be? Like, I don't know of another game. It's not necessarily loot, because you're taking this broken stuff home and then you have to pay to repair it, or you scrap it to repair your own. There's a sim almost, like a sim feeling to it that's beyond the action.
I was going to ask, because they said that it adds a career mode in the DLC, and I'm thinking like career, I think of a sports game.
And it's already got a career story, so it must play differently. Yeah. I would assume the career mode means, so you have a lance, which is, the lance is whatever mechs you put together and they become your team, and you can name them. So you can be like, Karak's Killers, right? And that's your mercenary team in the story. So I'm assuming with the career mode, it's like that. And it's basically taking over. In that game, you have the star systems, and each one has one's owned by like Dracanos. They have their names of the groups that own them. And I would assume a career mode would have you going around and taking different jobs from them. It's pretty cool because you actually can figure out your cost. So basically a company will hire you and you'll be like, I want to work for 20% of all the killings, and I want a bonus of 50% to do the job. Or you can choose. Yeah. So you can actually choose like a mercenary, which like that's one of the
Makes
names of the
sense.
games, is you can choose how you want to get paid for anything, almost like a free agent. It's very cool. And I think with those patches, it's probably above the 70% we see now on OpenCritic. So that's a good get for them.
Huh. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it. It just sucks it's coming out in May where everything has decided to release at once, from Deathloop to Resident Evil, all that stuff. So,
oh yeah, that's
busy.
true. That is true. Well,
Mass Effect.
Game Pass, maybe that's the right place then.
Yeah,
for that.
It's a good fit.
Mass Effect's May?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. You meant Legendary.
No, yeah, they all come out in 1 month. It's like, goddamn. Number 6, NieR Automata is a game that succeeded far more in all areas than anyone ever expected. Truly, for many, its only shortcoming was one thing: the PC port. Often maligned for its issues ranging from fixed image settings to crashes in the early game, frame rate problems, and the need for a mod tool called FAR to get the game in working order, NieR Automata has been overdue for a while now for a fix on its platform. Interestingly, it received one on PC, but Steam users are even more agitated than before, leading to review bombing for the game. NieR Automata Become as Gods Edition was recently added to PC Game Pass, and funny enough, it works just fine. All the aforementioned problems are gone in the Windows Store version. Another side note that I thought was worth mentioning, and one that has players less bothered, is the difference between The Evil Within on Windows versus Steam. The Windows version has a first-person mode, while Steam does not. So, yeah, NieR Automata has had a bad port for a while. It's kind of like the sore spot for the game. Not that anything else with the game has not been criticized, but that's been the main sticking point, is you got to play it on a console because PC hasn't been good. Game Pass fixes that. And now Steam is just sitting there like, dang, man, we got the bad version. What do you make of this now, and maybe in the future of Xbox having these ports of games through PC Game Pass that are superior, perhaps, than the ones that you can get off a storefront? And why? Because the thing I don't get is, how does that happen? How does the update release? Because I believe that, and I might answer my own question here, I believe this has Become as Gods Edition, where I believe the one on Steam is the Game of the Yorha edition, and those are different. So that may be why. But still, how do you read this situation, if anything at all?
I read that Microsoft is paying companies to fix the shit that is already existing. I don't know the deals behind it, and I don't know if that's true, but I absolutely, if you're going to put a game on a PC that's already got a busted PC version, and Microsoft is like, we want it on Game Pass, I would assume Microsoft also has a level of it working that they want, and it didn't on Steam.
That's good.
Yeah. So I don't have any issue. By the way, I did see somebody say, how dare Microsoft not pay to fix a Steam version? I'm like, whoa, wait, what? It's not theirs. What are you talking? What are we talking about? Mm-hmm. If this is port work, and by the way, all games that work on Steam have to have some kind of port work to work on games for Windows. That's for sure. Right. Or no, I said games for Windows. You guys know what I mean. But some port work has to be done to get it running and to get all your DRM checks, and also verify it's not moddable, even though Microsoft is sort of hedging on that. I would just assume Microsoft looks and says, how much would it cost for you to do these 5 things, that we know are big deals? Why would Microsoft, why would Sony, why would anybody say, hey, your game is rated medium on Steam? Which, by the way, people pretend Steam is like the height of truth. Steam reviews are usually the highest level of bullshit that bullshittery can bullshit before it's just a bowl filled with shit. It's terrible. So to me, it's not doing great. I don't see Microsoft saying, hey, put it on our system without them or the company having to fix those. And I hope that continues from this point on.
Yeah, I hope so too. It definitely makes it what they want, which is a more attractive offering for Game Pass, knowing, hey, I only got a PC. I wanted to play NieR. I'm going to go hop in because this is the version that works. And by the way, let this be a full endorsement that NieR Automata is phenomenal. Please do play it if you have not. It is one of the best games I've played of the last generation. It was just fantastic. But yeah, I agree. There's not much more I can tag on to your line of thought there. So yeah, let's just go ahead and move on then. Number 7, for all 8 of you who care, Bloober Team is joining up with Koch Media UK to hold a physical release for both the Medium and Observer. More info is to come. Just wanted to put that out there. Tyler Mitchell wrote in, "Hey boys, I've got a bone to pick with you. Last week while listening to the latest episode of Duke, I heard your, in parentheses, wonderful guest, Mike Williams, suggest that Microsoft might make a move to purchase Bloober Team. To my surprise, neither of you boys seem to wholeheartedly disagree. My surprise comes from the fact that only a few episodes prior, I made a very similar suggestion to which you boys guffawed at my suggestion. Now, maybe I didn't argue my point very clearly as the whole, quote, the medium sucks, end quote, argument came into play, but Microsoft isn't married to the idea of purchasing entirely based upon quality or scope. I'm looking to Compulsion Games specifically here. So, to revisit my point, I base that argument entirely on the relationship that is clearly developing between the two companies. I hope your days remain as short and as the nubby meats between your thighs. Just kidding. Love you guys. All right, so dick jokes aside.
What does he mean by Compulsion Games? Compulsion Games hadn't released their title. Microsoft bought them prior to the release. If he's talking about
We Happy Few?
Yeah, We Happy Few was bought before that was released, and that's why the big hubbub about who was going to publish it became a thing. That was
Gearbox stepped in.
Yeah. That was yeah. So I don't know what if he means why didn't we fight Mike more?
I thought we did. I know we gave him shit for something. I gave him shit about Far Cry Primal. And then you gave him shit about Mass Effect 1.
I mean, I don't know I don't remember. I mean, it's I'll just say this. If you feel that we didn't fight it hard enough, I'll just say, I apologize. Pretend I did, because my desire to understand why that game, Medium in particular, is considered good and why that purchase would make sense is just mysterious. And if you felt we fought him too hard, I apologize because I
we didn't feel like we did, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know how many times to fight somebody on it. He is also a professional guest, so I'm not going to hammer on him too much.
Yeah, not even that, but here's the thing, though, is Tyler, you got to remember, we've beat this drum for weeks. I just beat the drum again.
I'm a little tired of it.
We have let you... So when Mike comes on and says that, we don't want to be like, oh, here we go, this fucking guy, it's like, no.
This fucking guy.
Tyler, however, yeah, we'll give you this fucking guy treatment for sure. That's the price you pay for being a part of the audience. Number 8, as I mentioned last week, Atlus will continue to show interest in bringing their games to other platforms thanks to the success of Persona 4 Golden's PC port, which brought them both financial and fan attention. Next up is Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. Originally only on PS2, SMT3 is now making its way to PlayStation 4 Switch, but more importantly for this show, PC. The game will arrive May 25th, 2021, and it will feature a new difficulty setting to make the game easier, an option to save whenever you would like, as well as expanded audio options, being able to choose between English and Japanese voice casts. SMT3 will include a Chronicle pack, which adds Raido, which is from the Devil Summoner series. A digital deluxe version of the remaster includes the Maniacs pack, which adds in Dante from Devil May Cry, as well as giving players early access for 4 days. A trend that we saw begin with Persona 5 Strikers, and one that bumps up the cost of the game by $10. So, yeah, Strikers came out on PC as well. Expect Atlus to at least keep releasing there, and then I think at some point you'll see them bring their shit to Xbox. When? I have no idea, but I feel like within the next year would make sense. Anything you want to add on about Atlus games or SMT3?
Nope. I mean, the PC stuff is nice, but until it becomes actual Xbox, I think I won't be too engaged in that conversation until we know it'll be on the console, which I think is the larger of the two newsworthy parts. I mean, it's newsworthy, it's on PC, but I'm just saying for the history, I think.
Yeah. All right. Last thing here on the list is Fallout 76 roadmap. Of course, since Bethesda is wrapped into Xbox, we're going to make sure we tag in any of the stuff they're doing. Fallout 76 is one of the most popular games on Xbox Game Pass, so we thought it would make sense to let everyone know what's coming next. First is in spring. They have Locked and Loaded. Prepare yourself for year 3 of Fallout 76 with an update focused on the ways you upgrade your camp and your personal arsenal. So they have camp slots, special loadouts, daily ops expansion 1, plus crafting sliders, console aim assist, and camp mannequins. I give 76 credit because they do these intermittent updates pretty well. In the summer, they're doing Steel Rain. This is the continuation of Steel Dawn. a DLC I covered in the fall that was actually pretty good, in my opinion. It wasn't going to blow your socks off, but you combine that with Wastelanders, and I think the game found its footing here officially, where they said, forge the future of the Appalachian Brotherhood in the conclusion of the Brotherhood of Steel storyline, complete new quests, and meet new NPCs, as well as exploring new locations and earning powerful rewards, where they add in legendary crafting and legendary power armor, plus unlimited ranks for seasons. In the fall, it's being teased that there is going to be an evolution to Private Worlds. So it has been over, I'm trying to do the math here, 3 years, I believe, since Todd Howard said that, or around that range, 2.5 years, since Todd Howard said that mods were coming to Fallout 76. This seems to be it. They just said stay tuned for later this year when the next evolution of Private Worlds, which is the only place you would be able to mod the game. They're also going to be doing daily ops expansion too. And this is when the game will soar. Get in now, check it out, see if you dig it, because when mods come and you get your own private world, oh my word, that has some major potential. And then lastly is in the winter, Tales from the Stars, which is quite interesting because of Starfield. Stars have aligned in the wasteland, marvel at the discovery of new legends and the reappearance of an Appalachian myth. They're bringing in 4-star legendaries, the seasonal event called The Ritual, Invaders from Beyond, Public Challenge, and Daily Ops surprises, as well as camp pets. So in the terms of new story content, that's really only Steel Rain. Then you got mods in the fall, it looks like. And other than that, some extraterrestrial updates in the winter. So I thought pretty exciting stuff for 76, which continues to find its footing.
Yeah.
They've done a good job. With Game Pass, yeah, it's easy to say check this out, but 76 is a great fit for Game Pass, and it's a good safe buy-in, and if you end up liking it, really cheap to get a copy. So if you end up saying, yeah, I want to own this now, $10. So not something you really have to worry about if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, because now that they own Bethesda, that'll always be there. But with FPS boost as well, something that's not even mentioned here, it's a good time to try it if you own a Series X or S. Get some buddies involved, by the way. I think playing it by yourself wouldn't be ideal. But yeah, with that, let's talk about our Game Pass picks of the week. Karak, your slot is empty, so what do you have in mind?
Let me bring it up. No,
I got you early, man. What are you doing?
Nope. I've got it. Give me 1 second. I got it.
No, I'm kidding.
It did not update in, what do you call it? It did not update in Google Docs.
Yeah,
I even wrote them down. But I did write them down this morning, actually, now that I think about it. Oh, come on, man. Give me 1 second. Let's
go with mine?
Go with yours. Yep. I was going to say go with backwards compatible. We'll stay with this. We'll go with the Game Pass right now.
So my Game Pass pick of the week is Gears of War 5. Karak, I've made it. So finished Gears 4 last week, moved on to Gears 5, about halfway through now. Okay, so I've established two things. Number one, Gears 4 is, in my opinion, the worst in the franchise. I still think it's a good game, but Gears 5 feels like the true Gears of War sequel. It feels like what Gears 4 sets up a couple of things, and then 5 just runs with a lot of it. So returning to locations of Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, the first opening level from Gears of War 3 is starts with an A. I'm going to forget it, but it's from the end of Gears of War 3. And then you visit a place from Gears of War 2, the Jameson Project or something like that. Just the revisiting of these locations, it felt like a way to tie it all together, because you have these instance releases that I'm playing and you're just in different crops of the world. And then having these open world segments, it felt like something clicked in Gears 5 where it just strings it all together. And I'm like, I get it now. The story has a really awesome surprise that I didn't expect. I think the character development has been phenomenal. I mean, dude, I feel like such an asswipe for missing out on this game. And all I'm going to say is we got a lot of write-ins about Gears when I was talking about it in the beginning of our show. I was saying, I'm playing Gears 1, I'm playing Gears 2, I'm playing Gears 3, and I kept bringing up Gears. 5 is so good. I'm going to go the length of saying it's actually worth, so far, in my opinion, playing the whole series to get to 5. I think it evolves things in the right way. I think it's forward-thinking. It still has good action that the series is known for. The AI is pretty reactive. I can't comment on the multiplayer. I have not played Hivebuster, so I can't comment on that. But in the terms of what 5's doing with its campaign so far, I'm like beyond impressed because I thought, 3 was excellent. I thought 2 is pretty good. 1 is solid enough for its time. And then Gears 4, I felt was kind of the Force Awakens of Gears. It plays it safe. It does a good job. I still like it. But really outside of setting up one plot thread, I feel like things happen, but nothing super dramatic enough to get me invested. Where I feel 5 carries everything in a meaningful way. They understood it. It's like gloves were off. Let's do this thing. And so, like I said, only halfway through, but putting Gears back on the radar for some of you out there. If you have not played this whole series, 5 is that good. I don't know if you agree, but I think 5 is that good where it is worth going through the series for.
Yeah, no, 5 technologically wise, 5 is also incredible. So 5's cool too because you can do the multiplayer. Update. Oh my god! And it's next gen. You can do the multiplayer, which was nice because you can do bots for the multiplayer. So, sorry, spit. Cool. So basically, the reason why I say that is because a lot of times in multiplayer, people jump in and they're getting their butt just kicked all the time. So it's hard for them to want to learn because if you can't have a moment of respite for your brain to take that memory, turn it into knowledge, it's just going to, your memory is just going to be getting your ass kicked. You're not going to pick up on anything.
Constant input.
Yeah, and so what was great about the bots is I was playing with a couple people in the Discord getting ready for the review, and we were able to jump in there and sort of go, what works? What do I like? What do I dislike? And then when you go into the multiplayer, you're like, at least know if there's not a chainsaw, but if there's a gun of a particular type or a bad guy or a particular place, I sort of know if I want it or not. Because you get that kid at a grocery store kind of, or kid at a candy store kind of thing. If you jump into most multiplayer where like a weapon drops, you're like, I want it, and then you get it, and you're like, this is shit, and you get your butt kicked. So yeah, I think 5's one of the better Gears of War ever made. Like, even though I disagree with you, I think 1 is still. I guess I get what you mean by
I think 1 is
sign of
great.
Its times, but
just you can feel 1 is great. It's just
feel its age.
Remember how we talked about Outriders where we said some of the level design, and granted, by the way, we're
that
talking,
is true.
No, that is true. 2006 versus, but I felt that with Gears of War a lot, where it's like these perfect blocks.
Yeah.
Everything looked like it was not made as a part of the universe, but as cover.
Yeah.
And
that's where
even
5
Gears
is
5
awesome, Matty. But
interesting.
I think Matt, I agree with you. But when you get on the fucking air skidder boat thing,
oh my god,
and you can go to different attack parts and have battles. Like almost like Halo in the Warthog, you can't tell me they didn't look at Halo 1 and go, we want this to feel like, that feels, the DNA there is pretty strong.
I'll just say for those who know their Gears lore to some extent, stuff like the Sires, the Swarm, stuff like that just reminds me a lot of the Flood. I feel like...
I would agree.
I feel like it's very clear from the get-go that since Gears 2, they've been kind of taking a look at what Halo's doing. Not copying them, but you can see the inspiration. I mean, Halo's great, so why the hell not, right? But that's my Game Pass pick of the week. I think it's fantastic. And just once again, shout out to the next-gen enhancements. 4K 60. The game looks amazing. Feels very next-gen in that way. So big ups to them for that. Good game.
Really mine is Shadow of War. And the only reason I bring this up is because, so Shadow of War, I didn't even review because it was a disaster when it came out. And it was a disaster to even try to review. It was late, but also with all the microtransactions at the end of the game, it took a game and made it feel just weird. Like it was good, and then it just fell apart. It's almost like you get to a movie 2 hours in, and you're like, this ending sucks, right? But here, it didn't suck for everybody because some people were better than some people didn't care. And it was this oddity where I was like, you know what? I really got tired of it. I was like, I don't want to play it. Well, they patched all that out. All of it. And so what you get is a game that's basically a better Nemesis system, still screws up religiously, by the way. But I can see what they're trying to do. And if you take chaos into effect, And you're like, all right, this guy somehow showed back up, even though I chopped his head off, and now he's mad at me. Whatever. You know, they're orcs. Who knows what's going on in Lord of the Rings? It's a fairly good game, and it's huge. And it is a Ubisoft-style game. I think that's the one thing you can't get away from. So I'll warn people, when you get into it, you got to prepare. It is a Ubisoft, Mad Max, Assassin's Creed-style game.
Very much in that vein.
It is just in that vein. But if you like Lord of the Rings and you like that style of game, then Shadow of War is now better than it ever was. And Game Pass, of course,
I've been really wanting to check that out. So it's funny you bring that up. I've been thinking about it for a while. I think PlayStation Plus gave it away, and I downloaded it, and like I just have it sitting there. I've been thinking about it because I loved Mordor. I don't talk about it a lot because I think a lot of Middle Earth fans are like diehards. Like they know the books front to back. They know the lore. Right. So I don't want to say I'm a big Middle Earth fan, but I love Middle Earth. Like I like the games a lot. You know, Lord of the Rings Conquest is one of my favorite games growing up. So I'm all about that. And Mordor was kind of like this dream game. Like you could just explore that universe in a more deep fashion. So I think your suggestion here is going to be what kind of pushes me over the hump. And I'm going to give it a shot one of these weeks. And maybe I'll come in and solidify your pick.
There's just so much stuff that you can do on it, which I think is cool. Like if you're into those kind of games, it's well worth it. If you're into those kind and you're just like, I want to jump in, I want to play a Ubisoft style game, but with Lord of the Rings, then you're going to be in good shape. It's definitely going to return.
Yeah, for me, one of the things that spoke to me most was actually just like, hey, this is Arkham's Combat. If Batman could fucking stab people and take their heads off,
right?
And
that's exactly what it is.
Same feeling with Mad Max. We were just like, hey, imagine if you had a shotgun as a stagger attack. Yep, that's Mad Max. You know, like, but
and imagine if the bad guys weren't only engaged in the main boss battles. I think the huge thing that this game does that that Road Warrior, Mad Max, sorry, tried to do but didn't do as well that the Lord of the Rings games have done is they've elevated the boss battles to be the main normal guys becoming bosses, so no other game really does that. And that part, even if it's broken, is cool because how many Batman games have you played where you walk into an area and you're like, this is a boss battle? In fact, most games. You can look at the ground. I was playing It Takes Two yesterday, and I could call out a boss battle. Like from a mile away, you're out, this is a boss battle. Where the shoot into the big area, the door, you're like, boss battle. But what's cool about Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor is that that's not the way. I mean, the boss battles, the guys that you're fighting can be the boss battle or at least many major boss battles. And it's very cool sometimes. And when it works and some dude shows back up and he's like, he kills you and then he shows back up later and now he's stronger and you see him going up in the chain. There's something to be had there. For sure. It's definitely a huge change from other games.
I agree. I think that's what helps it stand out is like, you know, just how different that system is, even if it's not always consistent. It's just, there's nothing really quite like it. All right. Let's get into backwards compat pick of the week. Do you want to do this one first or shall I?
Yeah, I can do it first. So I had two choices and I skipped on the Assassin's Creed game because there's always an Assassin's Creed game. Like, I think that's, it's like there's always going to be an eclipse, and if there isn't one, the world's over. That's sort of like Assassin's Creed. Like, you know. But there is a game that I liked that was so weird on the original. Let me look. I think it's the original Xbox. It could be Xbox 360. You have to check. Called Murdered Soul Suspect. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And
wow.
That's a blast from the past. Like, where I think it was prior to me reviewing right when I started reviewing, because I know I reviewed it. I just don't know if I was working at the time. But Murdered Soul Suspect, it just has you investigating ghosts and these murders and with your ability to see into the like spirit world and stuff. And I remember when I first played it, it wasn't perfect. There were issues for sure. But it was one of those games where it was doing some things that were sort of ahead of its time in the way you tracked bad guys and the way you like looked around locations. And I sort of dig Detective Batman mode, you know, where you're like,
oh, absolutely.
You know, like that's why I like Origins so much, because it's the first Batman game that really had you actually be a detective versus just, you know, figuring out clues by punching them out of people's heads. So I liked Origins for that, and I like Murdered for that. I like you still had battle and stuff, but and I can't remember it perfectly, but I do remember coming away from it thinking this is a game that most people will forget, but has enough there that is well worth returning to. And I returned to it about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. And I think that was 4 years. So it's probably an 8-year-old game. 7. I don't know. You know what? Let me look up how old this goddamn game is.
I think it was 2014, I want to say. That's the number. That's the date that comes to mind, or the year.
20
rather,
what?
That comes to mind. 14, I want to say.
So 7 years old. That's 2014. Yeah, June. So
okay.
right in the middle of June was when that came out. And yeah, man, I think people should check it out because it's just different. And I think with backwards compatible games, sometimes that's the juice. It's not just returning to something we've played, but it's like finding a new game and maybe getting a little bit better graphics.
Yeah, I agree. That's such a good feeling. And that's why I feel bad for like PlayStation fans in one way, because we're seeing PlayStation, like, apparently they're going to shut down the PS3, PSP, Vita shops. And I'm just like, damn, man, like, that's just.
Did you see my post about that?
Oh, yeah, about the Avengers player base.
Yeah, I said it's still, those people, nobody's using it, but there's still more people than the Avengers base. But I was actually wrong. I'm sure a bunch of people are using it because there was some functionality in those stores, and now they're gone, right? I mean.
They're going to be gone is kind of the.
So what's that mean? That if, like, are you screwed?
That means that you got to get the game physically. The only thing I will say is I don't know if you'll be able to. In the Vita, they have a thing, for example, called the download list. So you can go in and you can access previous purchases, and you're able to say, "Oh, I have Killzone Mercenary only digitally."
Okay.
So if I want to go in there and download it, I could just go to my download list and find it. But they're shutting down. It's through the storefront. So if they're shutting that down, then you don't have access to that now. And it's one of those feelings where it's like, well, did you ever own the game really? And so that's what's kind of happening is like some PlayStation fans, even Colin, who he owns Lilymo or part of it, and he was talking about on Twitter how they develop games natively for Vita and then port them, and they're like, we're trying to figure out, a lot of Vita developers, like, they just bought a kit. Yeah, how do we handle this, because we don't know if it's happening. So a lot of developers are and granted, there's not many of them doing what they're doing, like making these games for Vita, but they're in the dark. And
that's weird.
So what sucks is obviously game preservation and also the ability to go back. And now these physical prices are going to go up big time.
True. Yeah. Prepare to be ripped off, people.
Literally. I mean, I made a video that's going to go up after we're done recording this about why I have a Vita in 2021. I just got one from my girlfriend as an anniversary gift, but nonetheless, it's worth owning if you care about collecting, and it's kind of about that. So it's just funny that came up. My backwards compatible pick of the week. I don't like to repeat. I had a list of 3 different picks, but I went back to this because I keep getting written in about it, and I thought, you know what? Here's my chance to let's just grab it, talk about it one more time. And I'm sure if more develops with this studio, we'll talk about it again. I want to talk about Lost Odyssey once more. All right, so a lot of people write in about this to me, usually on Twitter. I'll get tweets like, it's $5. Do I do it? There was a deal I quote tweeted that was $6. Do I do it? It's $3. Do I do it? And at that point, I'm like, do you want a McDonald's Happy Meal or do you want fucking Lost Odyssey? Like, that's the question I'm asking you today. Because that's what happened with KOTOR is it would go on sale for $2.50 and people go, Matty, should I do it? I mean, I don't think it's overly privileged to say it's $2.50. You should at least try it. So Lost Odyssey is not on Game Pass, but if you see it for a cheap deal and you're afraid to commit, it has been on sale 3 times this year for below $10. And I'm just letting everyone know, if you see it, buy it. For those who don't know, Lost Odyssey, it is a JRPG that came from studio Mistwalker, and it had the original creator of Final Fantasy involved. It is so beyond its years. I remember thinking, this had to be at least a 2011 game. When I saw it came out, I think it was 2008. Holy shit, man. I mean, it is impressive. So I'm playing Final Fantasy 9 right now. I'm about halfway through that game. And it takes a lot of ideas from that and older Final Fantasy games. Like, for example, in Final Fantasy 9, you equip stuff, and equipment will have abilities. And as you perform battles, you get ability points, which then you can spend on, say you get a Insomniac skill from your helmet. Once you fill up the bar from that through ability points, you have that permanently unlocked, and you can switch your equipment and get different abilities through them. And so then you can go to the ability section, equip that ability, and it'll always be there as long as you have enough points to support it. So what happens is Lost Odyssey takes that idea and says, all right, now you've got immortals like Kime, your main character. You've got him, and they are able to connect to mortals and get their skills. So instead of it also only being through items, you can connect to party members. So as they use stuff and learn it, then you can slot in your party member skills and permanently learn it for your immortals. And that type of stuff is awesome. So the mortals function like you would in a typical Final Fantasy game, and the immortals have a different approach to customization. So it gives you a lot of avenues. Number 2, story is phenomenal. It's not going to blow your socks off, I should say, but it really is captivating for I think a series that comes from the creator where I feel like oftentimes they lose the plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Crystal's this or Save the World that. The intrigue is in how you're playing as characters who have been around through thousands of years, the emotional ties you create, are they worth it because so many eras of life have passed, and how they represent that through visions in the DLC called Year of 1,000 or 1,000 Years of Dreams, I believe is what it's called. So it does a really good job representing the universe. It's a beautiful looking game. I cannot say enough positive things. Combat's fun. It's difficult. It can be a little grindy. I would love to see some type of re-release and get this game on PlayStation. I don't think it's on PC. I would like to see it there, though. But Lost Odyssey is one of these gems that Xbox helped create. It's exclusive, and it has just been consistently overlooked. And so I'm happy we got this show because I can actually screech it from the rooftops. I played it for the first time in September. And since then, I have not stopped talking about it. It's just one of those games that's in my discussion wheelhouse. It just keeps rotating in and out. So, once again, I'm not going to repeat any more recommendations moving forward unless I feel something like this, where I'm getting so many write-ins about Lost Odyssey. We've had questions on the show about it. And so I just wanted to say, hey, one more time, if you are interested in Lost Odyssey, yes, go pick it up. Go watch videos. I have one on my channel. It's called Xbox the unsung RPG heroes of Xbox 360, and it talks about Lost Odyssey, Infinite Undiscovery, and Operation Darkness. So go check that out if you want a video format of that from myself. If not, plenty of rave reviews of this game. It's fantastic. All right.
Graphically, that game is still not. It's not like today's game, but still pretty insane.
It looks really good. I played it on my 1S at the time.
Oh,
and it looked really good. Yeah. So, that says something. Next up is our PC deals of the week. We do have some parts and stuff in this. It's not just game deals, but let's start off with the games. I know, right? There were some deals that did not look like they were about to expire by the time this goes live. Number 1, Half-Life Alyx is 40% off at $35.99. So if you are a VR owner, Karak, you have played this. I own it. I have not played it. But
which one?
Define this as like a must-play. Half-Life Alyx.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. That game is for sure. Get it.
So if you're a VR owner, must own on that. $35. Steam's also having a sale for the Overcooked franchise. Overcooked 1, 75% off, and 2 is 50% off. These are really fun games to play with friends. So I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. And what's interesting is these are not on Game Pass. Sometimes we have our deals overlap with Game Pass, like we're about to have here, but still. Windows Game Store is having a THQ Nordic March Madness flash sale. Or I'm sorry, Win Game Store. I don't want to get confused with Microsoft's Windows Store. Desperados 3, which is on Game Pass, has the digital deluxe edition for $20. Wreckfest, which is also on Game Pass, is $12. The Book of the Unwritten Tales collection is $11. Black Mirror is $6. Here's one that I would really recommend. Destroy All Humans remake is $13. And the Rebel Cops, I have not played this one, is $4.
No, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. But Destroy All Humans I thought was a pretty competent remake for its pricing. So $13 for that amongst all these other deals is pretty good. CD Projekt Red sale on Steam. Right now you can get The Witcher 3 for 80% off. Cyberpunk 2077 for 20% off, which it's worth noting this is probably the best platform for the game. And The Witcher 2, which is like a unsung hero for CD Projekt Red. A lot of people talk about Witcher 3, but Witcher 2 was phenomenal, 85% off. And then The Witcher 1, which I have not played, was 85% off as well. So
Witcher 1 is rough. Just a warning to everybody. Witcher 1
I was going to say it.
Yeah, it's not in the same... It's like, it's not... It doesn't feel like a Witcher game at all. In fact, its entire way of playing is not like 2, which then translated into 3. 2 was like hub-based, like a Mass Effect, and then 3 is more like Andromeda. So
yeah,
you got to be prepared.
Yeah, for sure. And the combat's not as well-rounded, it looked like.
No,
so.
It's not.
Yeah. Number 5, let's get into a PC. This is for the big spenders out there. CyberPower has a pre-built PC with the AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. 16 gigabyte DDR4 3200, RTX 3080, and a terabyte SSD for $2,000. Use the code SPRING0410. I was reading some of the comments. People did order this, and what happens is the delivery will be sometime this summer, but with the prices that a 3080 is at, I thought this might be a good pre-built to send out there to you folks, because even if you're pre-ordering and you're getting it later, we're paying some pretty astronomical prices for PC parts, so might be worth looking into. And then Acer Nitro X, that's a Z, right? Yeah, XZ27, right? Like those are too similar. 2U has this is a monitor which is 27 inches, 1440p, 165 hertz. Previously $269, or I'm sorry, previously $329, now $269. All right. On to our final questions of the show. We got 5 of them. You can submit them one more time at patreon.com/laststandmedia like VRG does. Hey, Matty and ACG. I know you two are both big fans of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. ACG has also reviewed Gears Tactics positively. Which is the better tactics game, Mario Rabbids or Gears Tactics?
Mario.
Yeah, without a question.
Yeah, that's not even... It does different stuff. Like, one's going to stick with you, one's really good. They can both exist, but yeah, Mario Rabbids, man. Yeah. Dude, Mario Rabbids is magic. Gears Tactics made me realize that Gears feels like a tactical game now when you play the shooter part. It's get behind something, you have almost a rhythm to figuring out the chainsaw against somebody. And so translating to tactics was smooth, but Rabbids was not smooth for me because I never knew what was going to happen. And what did end up happening was it was one of those magical change all type of titles I've ever played. I will remember that game forever. Like that is top 20 classic games of all time for me, and probably in the top 10.
Yeah, I agree. It's for me, I don't know if I could fortify a top 20 off the top of my head, but
yeah, it's very hard, right?
Top 50. 100% top 50 is, and out of all the games I play, dozens and dozens and dozens every year, new releases, old releases, to say something's in the top 50 is, I think, really good. And so Mario and Rabbids is just on another level. And I pray to God it gets a sequel, man. Karak and I would scream. This would turn into a Switch show for an episode. We'd be like, hold on, let's talk Mario and Rabbids.
So speaking of screaming, did you hear a scream from me day before? Let's see, what would that have been? Day before yesterday, I posted about this. I don't know if you saw it, but I am a huge Hellgate London fan. You ever played that game?
No.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
So Hellgate London is like a first-person Diablo-style game. It's based in London after dragons and magic becomes a thing. And it had guns that they basically dropped. They were random. So a gun might shoot a hive of angry, poisonous hornets, while the next one might be a fiery laser. The next one... And it wasn't amazing for its time, but it had the chops, and it was a procedural world. And it's a VR, made for VR game is coming out. And it was announced the day before yesterday, and I thought it was Hellgate London as a VR game. And I was like, this is going to be amazing. And I went online, and they're like, no, this is a full made for VR Hellgate game. The shooting in that game looks fucking incredible. So speaking of screaming, that was the first time where I read news in Discord, and I was like, what the fuck? And like my dogs were all, whoa, what's going on? That's actually a legit reaction for me. I wasn't crying like somebody watching Pokemon, but I was legit. Yeah. That was, and Rabbids would be close, but I think Hellgate London beat it. I don't know. Rabbids is nerve-wracking to me because, like, what if they make it worse?
Yeah, I get that, right? But let's see here. Mario Rabbids sales. I want to see if there are some sales numbers out there. Sales.
Oh, you mean for total sales, like how it's done? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Nintendo Fandom has it at 2.5 million units. ARM sold 2.38 million units. And then Clubhouse Games 2.62.
So that is technically not considered a high seller. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean Mario Kart 33 million, Animal Crossing 31 million.
I'm sorry.
I mean
31 million? And Rabbids sold 2.5 million?
Correct.
That doesn't even seem like it makes sense. 33 million.
Mind you, my source for Mario and Rabbids is Nintendo Fandom.
Wow.
And let's see here. Nintendo Life wrote an article in 2018 that says Mario and Rabbids on Nintendo Switch has sold more than 2 million copies.
But that doesn't matter because their high sellers are selling 33 million.
Yeah, they sold. I'm just saying 30 plus million for both those games, Card 8 Deluxe and Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing's been insane. Wow.
Hopefully Nintendo is basing the idea of a sequel on more uninsane games, I guess, because that's the gulf of those numbers. That's a pro team versus like a high school football team. That's insane numbers. Like that doesn't even compute to me. Wow, that's a lot of games.
The creative director of the game said when someone asked about the sales numbers and if he'd shave his beard if Mario and Rabbids would reach 2 million sales, he said, I did shave. So yeah, it did surpass that.
Well, that's good.
So it did well. If they put that out there. I just wonder how it has continued to chart over times. And hopefully I feel like that would be, I mean, that was 2018? 2017?
Yeah, but I mean
2017? Holy shit.
But I mean, look at Mario Odyssey. Like, what does Mario Odyssey sell? Do you see what I'm saying? Right, but I mean, is it 33 million a lot? Or is it more like 5 million a lot?
This comes from Statista. It says the game has been very popular around the world with unit sales hitting 3.75 million in Europe and over 5 million in North America. This was January 29th, 2021.
Okay, well then that makes me feel better. That makes me feel way better. Yeah.
Because the main last Mario title and then a spin-off did about a quarter of that, maybe a little less than. And for something so different, I mean, here's the thing. They might be looking at it and saying, well, okay, Rabbids did this. What if we did Mario and some other Mario and Zelda Kingdom Battle?
Yeah. I guess comparing your game to Animal Crossing just doesn't make sense in the long run either.
No, that game came out at the perfect time, though, for sure.
What was it? Was it COVID?
Yeah.
That caused. Oh, gotcha. Well,
it was going to be popular. Don't get me wrong, but that was like the perfect kind of game to release at the time for a lot of people.
Was that also Pokemon Go? Was that why they did so well, or did they do that well, or did Pokemon Go? Well, Pokemon Go doesn't sell games, right? Isn't that? I thought that was free, and then or was Pokemon Go free, or did you pay for that?
Pokemon Go is free. The phone game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's free.
How do they make money?
That released. They do microtransactions in store. They do like buy Pokeballs, buy I think Dust. I haven't played it in a while, but that was what they had at the time. I grinded the shit out of that game when it first came out, man. I was all over it.
That's why I played it because people were parking cars in the middle of roads and shit, which to me signals hundreds of millions of sales. Yeah, they were. Dude, go back and look at the news. People were like legitimately causing full-on car pileups, or not pileups, whatever the term is. Fender.
I remember. I think it was Niantic who did. Was it them who did? I might be mixing them up with the Strike Force team. But anyway, the developers had to say they had to put in their app a notice saying please do not use this while driving.
No shit, man. That's
and
insane.
I think they had a thing that would determine if you were driving, it would lock you out because it would notice you're going too fast.
Bro, if I sold something that did that well, my warning would be, please use this while driving. Use this all the fucking time. If I sold so many that the warning would need to go out that said don't use it, I'd be like, let's take the world over. Use this fucker while you're flying a plane with people in it.
Get rid of a couple idiots.
Get rid of a couple idiots. Dude, that's insane numbers. That's crazy when the warning basically says don't engage in life while playing this game. That's insane numbers. That's awesome.
Keith McCarthy is our next write-in. Hey, dudes. Just last week, I purchased my Series X, my first Xbox console, thanks to this amazing podcast. We've seen that a lot, by the way. Shout out to all of you who are enjoying the show enough to get a console. That's pretty cool. I'm still waiting on it to be delivered, so I thought I'd ask about backwards compatibility before I get it. Is it a case of if you own games on disc, they'll play on the console, or can you download the old games? I'm loving some suggestions for backwards compatibility, pick of the week, but I'm unsure if you need the physical copy to play them. Also, how far back do the generations go? Cheers, lads. P.S. ACG, I love you, but please stop saying redonk.
That's redonk.
He says you sound like Mech Lovin'. Yeah, that's redonk.
I don't know what that is, but you know who I sound like when I say redonk? ACG. Fuck you.
That's right.
So,
I was about to say, joking. Kevin can fuck himself.
Just aggressive.
Oh, hope your new console breaks, Kevin.
Remember when we said have a terrible day? That was just you, Kevin.
Yeah.
What? I don't even remember his question, man. Kevin got screwed on. Can you download what? I didn't understand.
In the case of old games on disc, they'll play on console, or can you he wants to know, can you download the old games? Which
absolutely not. No. You cannot on every game, Matty. I found that out.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so listen to this. So you're right about 90% of the time, but I think it was a Skylanders or one, because I do have, I'm a big Skylanders fan, and there was a couple games that I was going back to. And remember when Rare Replay came out and the games weren't on the disc? You would put it in, it would install each game. Remember that shit?
Yeah. I
right?
forgot about that.
By the way, if you weren't prepared for that, hello bandwidth caps. But there was a couple games, Syndicate might be one. It was something weird where I was like, okay, I've got the physical game, it's licensed. And when I tried to download it, it was not available in the library, if that's what he's talking about. Now, if he's talking about ones that are distinctly in the Game Pass, of course they're available because they're Game Pass. Yeah. But I think he might be talking about just like if you owned it. I don't know if he's saying this, but if he's just asking if you owned it physically, can you always download the digital version? If he's asking that, that is not true. You can't. Not everyone.
Yeah.
So
okay, I didn't know that. I thought most back compat titles were also available for download.
No, unfortunately, there was a couple that I ran into, unless maybe there was a glitch. But yeah.
Well, that's worth knowing. Yeah. I usually go with physical anyway. And not to just tag on to PlayStation again, but with the PSP and the PS3 and the Vita.
If you can get it, get it.
Yeah, if you can get physical, I would suggest getting it. You will still have to download. That's how it works. What happens is Xbox emulates the game off their server. So what happens is you'll put the disc in. It will still have a download for the size of the game for it to be emulated properly. So just do know that if you're wondering about internet and how far back the generations go, it goes back to the original Xbox, but it's limited. There are lists online on Xbox's own site that'll tell you just, look up Xbox Series X backwards compatible games, and it'll give you a whole list of like what's back compat on 360, on Xbox, the original, and just make sure you read very carefully because 360's back compat library of original Xbox titles is different from that of Xbox Series X's original titles for back compat.
And so original Xbox weren't on some stores because there was no online at that time.
Yeah. So like on 360, you can play Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. I don't know why it's coming to mind. You cannot play that on your Xbox Series X. So just make sure when you are looking at lists, because we can't just label them all right now, make sure you are looking at Series X and S specifically because those backwards compatibility lists differ.
Or just Xbox One forward, right?
That too.
Right. So as long as you're looking at Xbox One S, Xbox X, Xbox Series S or X, you should, I think what we're saying is those all should be compatible. But what you're saying is some are not compatible with the entire line. And they're only Xbox 360.
Yeah, like you can look up, if you just search up Xbox back compat titles, you might get the 360 list, and that will be...
If you had the
beyond,
hardware.
Yeah. That'll be way more than what you get on the Series X in terms of original Xbox back compat. So just Remember that. John O's next. Hey, Bearded Duke and Mustache Duke. I've been really enjoying hearing about all the old games you've been playing. I've taken Matty's suggestion to hunt for physical games and got a physical copy of The Lost Odyssey as well as Pokemon Conquest. All right. Are there any other games from the 360 era that you recommend to grab? I didn't get into the 360 as I was a Sony guy, but the incredible backwards compatibility of the new Xbox is making me want to buy both consoles for the first time rather than just PlayStation, something we've been seeing a lot on this show. Thank you and stay sharp. Love all that you do. So I talk about a lot of games to collect here. I want to poke you for this if you have any answers by chance. Yeah, why did I say poke? Like,
I don't know, but this is getting hot. Unless you smell like asparagus, then you can't come over.
That was a Freudian slip. I was like, all I want to do is tap you on the shoulder. Maybe I'm like, I'm going to fucking poke you now. All right, so do you have any games that you would say are worth collecting?
And this is 360
games.
Viva Pinata was 360.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, not Xbox original. I think that was, it was. So Viva Pinata, above all else, it's one of my favorite games of all time, 1 and 2. 2's co-op. And then, so 360 only.
Yeah, there's a lot. I know it's one that I threw on you. Just I'm just thinking overlap. Like I say a lot.
I would say Viva Pinata would be that. So this person's picked up 1 or 2 from Matty. You could pick up 1 from me, and I'll go back and look and see if I can give some more later. But I would say the problem is that 360 and PS3 in particular had a lot of overlap, and so I'm trying to remember. And I don't want to just be like Gears or whatever because those are sort of not the same thing. Yeah, but I mean Viva Pinata is fantastic. The other ones I would mention are on everything. Because I was sort of even though I had a 360, I was playing, a lot of this is one of the reasons why exclusives to me never mean as much as they do to other people. Because I've had a system that maybe had less exclusives almost every single gen and been super happy because it also had the third, the third party stuff. So, but, oh, no, that's not either. Because Quantum Break, even though I didn't love it, but that's Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
Wait, which Fables were on 360? Because I would certainly say to check out
all of them.
Don't check out 2. 2 is. Wait a minute.
2 has an edition that is patched, but the original Fable 2, because my friend's playing it and his save got fucked up. So there's like a platinum edition or a complete edition that you would want that has like patches built in. But if you play the original, there's like a save bug there. So.
And I also believe 2 had Vaseline. If I remember, 2 was a horrendous resolution and had a weird anti-aliasing, where 3 was brother and sister, right? 3 was the story about the siblings. So I would certainly say if you...
no, I think 2 was brother and sister, because 3 was you're a prince or your royalty of some kind. And then
and you start out with... And 3 is the dog.
I want to say yes. It's been a while since I played 3.
So... Whichever one has the dog turned out to be dog shit. And there's a lot of blurriness, and it just didn't look good. So I don't know where that is now. But I will say, check out Fable 1. I think Fables are fun games. They're weird. They're unique. They got a cool magic system. They've got cool emotes and the ability to hump and, like, and build your houses. It is actually very cool. So I would say the Fable series as a whole is definitely worth checking out.
Right on. Yeah, I think my only thing I would add in here is this is a cross-gen game, but I think the pandemic games are worth collecting. So Lord of the Rings Conquest, The Saboteur,
but those aren't exclusive to 360.
Yeah, they're not.
Isn't that what he wanted?
Or
did he not want? I thought he wanted exclusive to Xbox 360 because he's just getting in.
Yeah, he said he was a Sony guy. He never got into 360. So I'm trying to think.
Because I think the pandemic ones are all on both.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I would say I'm going to throw in... See, the thing that the more niche exclusives happen to be JRPGs that I've talked about already. So Infinite Undiscovered, that's not really niche, but
Dragon was exclusive for a while. Yeah.
Spectral Force 3 is one. Operation Darkness is an expensive one.
Yeah, that would... Is it expensive? Oh, you mean physical? It's expensive?
Yeah, physically. Yeah. It is. And if you're looking at collectibles, I mean, you brought up Pokemon Conquest. So, John, if you want to write in again and survey other systems, go for it. I mean, I think this was on PS3. Hold on, let me check something because it didn't say only on Xbox. Let me check. This might be a good answer for you. Because I don't remember this being on PS3 at all. Let's see your platforms. It was not. Check out Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth. It's Lord of the Rings RTS only on PC and Xbox.
Gotcha.
I have that right now, so I would say look into that. That'll be my suggestion. $15, I think, on eBay. Random Integer is next. Hello there. I hope you're having a fine day, or having a day. Wow, I just went ahead and threw that in there. I apologize. First time caller here. I haven't owned an Xbox in a very long time, and I actually just purchased an Xbox because of this show. See, I'm telling you, man, like I see this every week. It's awesome. I made this switch to PlayStation back when the 360 red ringed and realized PlayStation wasn't charging for online play at the time. Anywho, I've been wondering if I want to catch up on Xbox games that I have missed. Is Game Pass the best way to hit highlights? Are there a few left out there that are must plays? The last Xbox exclusives I played were Halo 3, which I feel like it was only yesterday, yet it was 12 years ago or something somehow. Thanks very much. Love the show. Stay fat, stay sexy. All right, Random. So, you have not played an Xbox exclusive since Halo 3. That is, we got a lot of ground to cover here. So we're thinking just Xbox. We're going to cover really the one generation here. Must plays. Obviously subjective, but must plays for someone who's diving in. I'm going to throw Ori out there. I think if you are in the Xbox ecosystem, that Ori would be a must play. I'm biased. I love Sunset Overdrive, though, but I wouldn't say it's a must-play. I think it's very fun if you want to see kind of the beginning of the synthesis of what, or the really genesis of what Spider-Man PS4 would become with its movement, its tricks, and craziness. You might want to check that out. I think it's still phenomenal, but not a must-play. So my starting one is Ori. Do you have something on top of that? I mean, the Xbox One generation was barren, so you're kind of lucky if you're diving in now, because now you're getting into where they're established, right? So it's okay if you're a little late to things.
Yeah, I mean, there's like Quantum Break and ReCore, you know?
Oh, ReCore. You mean that's one you're going to pick? Interesting.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying those were at the time exclusive.
Ah, okay.
So this is one place where I'm just not good with these, because though I had a 360, I played other games, and those are all going to mend together. So it's one of the things where I show that, you know, I'm not like an Xbox diehard. I know you're not either, but I'm saying I don't get a chance to delve into the backwards compatibility or make it special anymore, because I've already delved into a lot of those. That's another thing. I've already you guys are revisiting now. I might have revisited them 4 years ago. So, like, it's hard for me to bring them up now and say, oh, there's something now that you need to check out. Quantum Break might be worth checking out. People liked it more than I did. I didn't love it, but I would say it is an event game. It is certainly a game that other companies have never done, with its TV show at the same time that you can actually download and play on the Xbox. Like, there was a lot going on in that game. I didn't love it, but there was some cool bad guys, amazing actors. So I would say that's well worth checking out. Alan Wake at some point is exclusive. I just don't know. Right? Yeah, because that's not on PS3, is it? Or PS4?
No, it's not.
I think.
So
Alan Wake, depending on where that is one of the best games of all time. So I would say if you haven't played Alan Wake, admittedly, first one's a little cumbersome now, but.
That's a good suggestion. Yeah, Alan Wake. Yeah, fortunately, you don't have a lot to catch up on, so you can just get started wherever you please.
Yeah. Oh, he did ask if Game Pass is a good place. I would say yes. It's not a good place to just revisit old stuff. It's just a good place. So you might as well just engage with whatever is there. And we'll see you in 10 years when you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. You won't have to write in again. All right. Last question of the show. NLins27 writes in saying, hey, gents, hope you're both having a subpar day. My question is relating to your opinion of How Long to Beat and your dislike towards the website and how people get put off games due to the inaccurate lengths that are stated. Bit of background for you. While I love gaming, with working 12-hour shifts and having other responsibilities, my gaming time is limited, and I do need to carefully consider how much time I can invest in a game, especially as so many games are released these days, and I like to sample as many as I possibly can. For instance, I love Rockstar games, but I have yet to play Red Dead Redemption 2, as I know it's a near 100-hour experience. Am I wrong to use this site to pick and choose what games I experience? Should I play the game for a few hours before deciding if it's worth my time investment? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. All right, so when it comes to how long to beat, it's exactly what you said. I think the issue I have with it is really, man, like, here we go. This is another game that like people are going to miss out on, because I remember, what game did I play that just, it's going to bug me. I recently played this game and it said 40 or 50 hours and I beat it in like 15.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is going to bug me. It was on my Xbox. This is really going to bug me. I'll think of it later. But point being is, I've seen like vast overestimations of the length of a game where it is a problem. Something like Red Dead, you hear that in reviews. Like, people say it a lot. So I think it's fair to be like, yeah, I would avoid that based off data provided by that website. But otherwise, there are times they're just way off. And Karak, I know you have a stronger opinion, because sometimes I will reference the site, but oftentimes I don't. So what would you suggest as an alternative, as someone who feels a little bit stronger on this?
Just probably follow a reviewer that talks about time in their games. And I would also say don't stress winning a game anyway, because sometimes a game, you may want to play it all the way through. It may suck. The ending may suck. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be about that. I'm definitely not a completionist, platinum kind of person.
Right.
Hang on one second. Hello?
You're good. Oh, he's answering up. Oh. Anyway.
The only reason I answered that is because they called twice in a row, which is really rare. But yeah, it's a piece of shit site, and I don't think people for the most part should check it out, because there's no requirement for truth there. There's none. There's no requirement for even proving you beat a game.
Polls.
It just polls. No, I mean, it can poll maybe, but I can just go there and type in I played a game and say 12 plus hours. There's no connection to hardware. No connection to software. Huh. Yeah. So unless that's a new thing and they're requiring that now. Also, I mean...
No, I meant when I say poll, I mean like you'll submit and it'll be averaged in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, that is... Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, that's all right. And who plays a game like a fucking World War II sub anyway? Like, if you're trolling the map perfectly, a game will cost take 60 hours or 200 or whatever. But most of us don't play that way.
Yeah.
In fact, most don't. I don't know of anybody who really plays that way.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I would say, and it's not even like us promoting ourselves, I would just say connect to a reviewer that gets it. That,
yeah, somebody that talks about time,
that highlights time.
Streamer,
that's
maybe
really important. Yeah, because the thing is that I think that's one of the most important parts. I don't think a game should be reviewed strictly based off its length, but I still am a staunch believer that it matters enough where you need to talk about it. And because at the end of the day, people are spending X amount of dollars for X amount of time spent on something.
Yep.
So while a game's quality or length is not indicative of its quality, I think it still factors in on, hey, should you spend this much money on this little time? You know, so yeah, it's one of those things where you got to just tap out the reviewers. And if your time's limited, then I would say you can still use this website to check out the length of a game, but more than anything, you want to make sure that you connect with the reviewer on top of that. So that
let's logically talk about it as well. If somebody's saying they don't have the time to do a small amount of research to see if a game takes 60 hours, why do they have time to play a game that takes 60 hours? You can't have it both ways. You either do or don't have it. And if you do have it, do your due diligence up front. And if you don't have it, then you're not going to have it anyway, and just play the game. So to me, I would say find some reviewers, find some streamers. There's a lot of streamers who say right up front, hey, I don't 100% my games. I'm not going to I'm going to play it organically. And those are people you can, follow and you can ask it, by the way, too. That's another place in Twitter. You don't have to go to how long is it played. If you have a good Twitter following or Discord following, jump in there and say, hey, realistically, everyone, how long is this game to you? And I think a lot of people want to help you out. And you'll hear the person go, I have 1,000 hours and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, well, you're a dumbass. Like that's on you. It's not us, but you'll have realistic people who will help you out. And I think that you should definitely hinge on that knowledge there.
Absolutely. Yeah, so hopefully that helps, Linz, and you can get to gaming in a proper fashion now. Or rather, not that. I'm making it sound like it's something completely wrong, but more so just that hopefully our advice has helped and you get our stance a little bit more, if anything. And with that, that's our last write-in for Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. So we hope you all enjoyed episode 12. If you got this deep, let us know with the hashtag Defining Duke on Twitter. Our handles will be on screen for you to go ahead and check out to your liking. And we look forward to interacting with you there, like many of you have been. And with that, Karak, any final words as a send-off, maybe?
No, just have really good. What day are we at? Wednesday. Have a really good half of your week. Hopefully, it's better than the starting of mine. Oh.
Indeed.
Hopefully, your week is better than mine. I'll just say that.
It'll get better, Karak. I'm here to support you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It has to.
Of course. And with that, it's time for us to sign out. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see all of you next week with episode 13 of Defining Duke.
Peace out.
Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the good old USA. The show was conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Jeremy ACG Penter. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level or higher on Patreon, and we're grateful for your kindness and generosity.